Okay, we're back, everybody. Thank you again for showing up. We are here with BombHappy, who is going to be playing Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Uncle Slam, his commentator. So please say hello, everybody.
Howdy, howdy. I'm BombHappy, and I will be doing Kirby and the Forgotten Land any percent. And then go ahead.
I'll Slam and I'll be co-commentating this run.
Alright, so just playing some music right here, and I will go ahead and exit the game right here, and we're just going to go ahead and go to the title screen here. And then we'll start the run pretty soon here. Alright. And so, for this game, we are going to be starting off on Spring Breeze mode. This is the easy mode. Basically, every single time you finish a level, the coins will count up in wild mode. So that actually loses you time, so it's actually faster to play on the easier mode as well. And so I'll go ahead and do the countdown. And so it'll be 3, 2, 1, and go.
Good luck, BombHappy.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so at the start here, we're actually not going to pick up any abilities too terribly soon. So a lot of the open movement you'll see is slide in followed by hops to slide cancel. And that's also because like slide gets you the fastest movement as base Kirby. But near the end of it, you will start to slow down a bit. So optimally, you'll see BombHappy here trying to jump just as Kirby reaches the same speed as walk-in speed. But you also need to be very careful when you do this movement because Kirby really likes to lock on to enemies and objects. So right there, he intentionally just walks past that block and the woofy because if he slides too close to them at the wrong angle, Kirby will automatically try to go right into them and lose just a little bit of time, but it can add up if you're not careful.
Yep. And if you noticed early on, I changed my control settings, so I turned auto swallow off. So this is new in the Kirby games, so when you inhale an enemy that has an ability, you actually automatically take their ability in without having the option to spit them out. And so turning off the auto swallow just gives you a lot more control for how Kirby plays the game. So we're not going to be seeing auto swallowing anymore.
Yeah, that'll be relevant in a few spots in the run, the first big instance being in the very next level, but we'll get to that in a moment. But until then, we get to see Kirby.
Yes, this is a main gimmick. Mouthful mode is what they are. And the first one is going to be this cute Kirby Kirby. And you see the little nubs on the side of ears. Love to see it.
Easily the cutest mouthful mode. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of tech you have to worry about with cars, but one of them is right here when he goes down that slope. You're going to see BombHappy trying to jump as much as possible to maintain the momentum from going down that slope. It does save just a little bit of time, but it's worth going for.
Can I sneak in a quick donation from you?
Yeah, go for it.
We have an $80 donation from Shindo, who put us over $1,500.
Hey.
And he says, hyped for the Kirby run. It's really neato to see the hours you put in this game used for a good cause. Good luck on the run.
Thank you, Shindo.
Thank you.
Yeah, so right here we're going to see our first of several arenas in the run. So essentially how these work is you'll get a barrage of different enemies, and the barrier will open up as soon as you defeat all of them, and BombHappy gets through it like it's nothing.
Quick and easy.
And here we get to see our little buddy Alpha Land for the first time.
Yeah, I love Elflin. Spoiler alert, he's not evil, unfortunately, unlike other Kirby games. But we are seeing Bandana D. This is the 2-player option that you can have, but unfortunately, we're just going to ignore him and go on to the next world.
Yeah, so every single time you first enter one of the 6 worlds, there'll be this little cutscene where it opens up and shows you the expansive area. We're gonna skip those as we get them though, since that is one of the skippable cutscenes in this game, which is another nice quality of life feature that helps speedruns immensely.
Yes. So I guess as a heads up, so this game actually has quite a bit of downtime in between the stages just because of the transitions. But overall, like once we get inside the worlds, you get to see some cool stuff. We're actually going to see our first skip and the beginning of this World 1-1. Sorry, beginning. End of 1-1. And we'll get there eventually.
I look forward to seeing which version of it you go for.
Alright. And so, if you notice, we are doing the slide hops. We won't be seeing this for the rest of the game. We'll fortunately grab a lot of abilities that will allow us to move significantly faster than slide hopping, but this is just basically our fastest form of movement until we get to the first fast ability, which will be pretty soon.
Yeah, it actually takes a while before you are able to even get any of the abilities that make Kirby move significantly faster. Chakra movement when?
Oh, you know, there is a route where you can do that. Definitely not optimal, but it's a lot of fun. But look at here, this is going to be our first mini-boss, Wild Edge. This is actually going to be a pretty fast fight right here. Unless I do something like that.
Very good fight. Yeah, so this is the first instance where we actually do want Auto Swallow off, because if you had it on at that point, Kirby would get this animation where he takes the sword power up, and then you'd need to spit it out immediately anyway. Well, I guess you wouldn't need to spit it out immediately, but there's no real advantage to having it in the rest of the level or until we get to the first copy ability we'll be seeing in the run.
Yeah. There's an animation every single time you inhale an ability, so we want to avoid that as much as possible, just because it does take a lot of time.
That was a very clean climb.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so here we have our little buddy Coneby here, just about as good as Kirby in my opinion. And we're actually able to use this particular mouthful mode to get a skip. Looks like BombHappy's going for turtle skip, 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 and pretty much nails it. So that's the fastest way to climb to the top of that Tortildon and defeat it. There are, I think, 2 other variants of that trick. Though the one that BombHappy just nailed is easily the hardest, so GG there.
Yeah, it is a frame-perfect trick. So weird mechanic is that whenever you're in a mouthful mode, I think typically just Coneby, if you do get hit, there is this one particular frame that allows you to jump while damaged. So it's a frame-perfect trick. The timing is honestly not too bad, but overall, it was a pretty good one. You can technically do it just a little bit faster if I jumped a little bit closer. That way I didn't have to do a second cone attack on the Tortildon.
And it's especially scary because like half of that trick, you're also off screen.
Yes. So you can't really tell, so you just have to know it based off feeling.
Exactly. So here we finally get to see our first copy ability in the run, this being Fire. Now, the main movement you want to get with Fire here is slide in once, jump in, and then using the ability multiple times. But if you're going downwards in elevation, then you can chain multiple together, as he just got 6 in a row there. And the more you're able to actually use the Fire ability, the faster you will move in general. And this will be the main movement in the first chunk of the run.
Yeah, so...
this room right...
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say that this room is very cycle-based. It's pretty easy to make this first cycle, but as soon as the platform lowers in front of BombHappy here, you definitely want to make a beeline for this section, because that platform with the pipe on it, you don't have a whole lot of frames to get to. So the movement's a little tight there, but BombHappy here making it look easy.
Yeah. So going to this ability, we will be seeing Fire quite a bit. So the cool thing about this game is, so far, since it's a new game, we're still trying to figure out routings. It has been slowing down in terms of optimizations, but the 2 main routes that people go for is either going to be Fire or Tornado. So obviously I will be running Fire until I can grab Tornado. But as first-time runners, if you ever wanted to play this game in a speedrunning setting, Fire is definitely the way to go. It's a lot easier to use.
Yeah, and nice thing is, like, most of the skips you can get with Fire, you can get with Tornado and vice versa, so it's really, really open to whatever you're most comfortable with.
Yep. And if you noticed right there, I actually got an objective for hitting that poster. So the main thing about this game is that we are saving Waddle Dees from the clutches of this unknown enemy that we're dealing with. And the main goal for any percent is to just get the minimum amount of Waddle Dees to unlock the next boss, which is at the end of each world. So you can either get them by catching them in cages or completing objectives. For some reason, the enemy is like, yo, you hit that poster? Let me give you a free Waddle Dee. I got you. So because of that, we're trying to go for the fastest Waddle Dees. That's where our main part of routing is. And with World 1, you'll see a lot of fast Waddle Dees, but as we get farther and farther into the game, bosses will start requiring more Waddle Dees to get in, and you definitely want to grab the fastest ones. And so it might seem slower, but we're still going to be going pretty fast.
Yeah, this level in particular has a really interesting way of routing what Waddle Dees we go for, because at the end of each level, it'll kind of tick down, okay, so you hit this achievement, and this achievement, and if you unlock all of them in the level, then you don't have to worry about an animation unlocking to show you one you might have missed. And in this case, we're going to start one of them where BombHappy ate some of the food on the tree stump at the start there. And even though we're not going to eat all 3 of them to unlock the Waddle Dee you get for that achievement, that will still make things faster at the end of the level.
Oh.
So little optimizations like that are definitely important at the top level for sure.
Speaking of Waddle Dees, if you donate 119 more, we will get to see BombHappy do Ultimate Cup Z.
Yes, Ultimate Cup Z, by the way, amazing incentive in my opinion. Saw Shasta himself do it, and I thought to myself, you know, if you want to see bosses get bullied, please go for it. I love beating up bosses, and I'm pretty sure you will too.
Yeah, as he was saying before the run, it's a very cathartic feeling for sure.
Yeah, especially when you play this game casually first time. Some of the bosses are a little bit of a headache, but you know, being able to see someone just bully all of them, it's very satisfying.
That was a very nice 1-3 there.
Yeah, I actually hit the cycles there. So a weird mechanic with this game. So we saw those boulders in the very beginning. So they actually have decently sized hitboxes, and it doesn't help that the fire hitbox when you're dashing is actually extremely huge. So even though it doesn't look like you don't come into contact with those boulders, you can easily bonk into them with fire. Same thing with some enemies. If you try and glide above them and they're bonkable, you will bonk into them, even though it looks like you're above them.
Yep, and so this is a Lipo Mall. This is a lot of people's favorite levels, as I've found out, but it's basically just going through this giant mall, and as far as the World 1 levels go, this is definitely a fan favorite.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of the movement in the first room is, you know, your basic fire movement, but as we near the end, we're actually going to pick up a candy, and that will not only allow us to get a Waddle Dee for it, but it'll also speed Kirby up significantly, and what BombHappy is going to try to do here is he's going to try to take that all the way to the next mini-boss. And when we get there, you'll see some fun little action. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, love the action here. Or lack of action?
Either or. Yeah, one thing that's also important to note here is that we're actually going to be using single fire movement here instead of double fire when Kirby's airborne, just because, actually, hold that thought. Yes, that was a very, very difficult mini-boss there, as you could probably tell. Very surprised you got that as easily as it did, man. I was concerned. Ooh.
Oof. That's a
luckily,
tragedy.
Yeah, so luckily this game has a very good checkpoint system, so even if you do fall off like that, you don't lose that much time because the game is very generous with where it will respawn you.
Yeah, and actually,
yeah.
To bring that in, so Kirby, if you know, in all the other games, Kirby basically has infinite flight. Because this is a three-dimensional game in comparison to the side-scrollers, they put a limitation on floating. So right there, it looked like I just fell off like a dummy. Like, I'm a Kirby player. Why can't I just float infinitely back up? I can't. It doesn't allow you to. Particularly with fire, if you do 2 fire dashes in the air, if you try and do any more or try and float, you're actually going to become exhausted and you can't float anymore.
Yeah, even then there are like weird circumstances where even if you do one, you're basically exhausted after that point. Like there's an instance of that in 1-2, I believe it is. At the very end with the stairs, if you miss the poster, yeah.
It's a tragedy, yes.
But there aren't too many instances of that, so we're pretty easily able to account for situations like those when they come up.
Alright, and so here we are. We finished all of the 4 levels in World 1, so I should have the perfect amount to unlock the next stage, which is 17. And I'm actually going to be going for one of the safer strats in this run for this particular boss, just because there's a big difference between the fastest strat and the safe strat. The fastest strat is 7 seconds faster than the safe strat, but if you mess it up, you lose like 30 seconds. It's not worth it if you don't do it consistently, and unfortunately, I'm not consistent at it.
Yeah, so the copyless strats for this fight are really only meant if you're like really trying to push for a top time. Either that or if you just like YOLO strats, in which case by all means go for it. But there are a couple different main strats that people will use for this fight. The big 4 are fire, because that's what we come in with, copyless, ice, and sword. And the strats you're going to see here involve the ice power-up, and that is for a very specific reason. BombHappy, I'll go ahead and let you explain it if...
No, go ahead and explain it. Go ahead and explain it. You got this.
So basically, the way you're meant to use the ice power-up, or the way Nintendo figured you'd use it, is, okay, you just hold down the power-up button and you constantly spit out this ice ability. Ice breath, actually. And over time, that will gradually freeze enemies, in particular mini-bosses here. But if you are able to spam it while holding the shield button, like BombHappy is here, it will freeze Gorimondo much, much more quickly than intended. So you'll see here that he hardly even gets a chance to attack Kirby, let alone move around. And just like that, we're already in the second phase, and assuming this still goes well, Gorimondo won't be able to attack during this whole phase if he's frozen quickly enough, and it looks like we are good. Very nice fight.
Yeah, so Gorimondo is pretty annoying with the second phase. He goes into a spin attack, and that is the least thing you want to deal with, just because that is a lot of downtime. So if you end up messing up the copyless strats, you will be very sad to watch an auto-scroller.
Yeah, and Gorimondo especially, like, Gorimondo will be the only boss we see ice strats with for a very, very long time. And another important factor of that fight is lag reduction, because with all that ice spawning on his body, it causes, a ton of lag. So BombHappy actually has to hold the controller in a really weird way, like using claw controls basically, in order to shift the camera down, so there are fewer frames that involve the ice covering Gorimondo's model. So that's all just to reduce a couple of lag frames.
Yeah, sword strat used to be a huge thing back then. Even bomb strat was also a thing. Haha, BombHappy. But unfortunately, they're not very fast. I think there actually is a sword strat for all Waddle Dees, because you do have to beat up Gorimondo with a sword.
Yeah, it all depends on like what strats you are most comfortable with, because there are Waddle Dees we do need to get in the boss stages, some of which you can get by using certain power-up abilities, but...
Yeah, copyless sword, I think, is probably like super fast, but I can't remember too much. Oh,
yeah,
those Dark Riley really already said it for me.
Yeah, shoutouts to Dark Ryalu in the chat. He probably knows this game's run better than anyone else on the planet, so...
Yeah, shoutouts to him for finding a lot of strats in this game, particularly the route that I'm going to be going for is what he also goes for, which is going to be the Tornado route, and we'll get to see that very soon, once we finish World 2. Or half of World 2? Yeah.
Some point in World 2.
And so right here, we are forced to do this little cutscene situation. The game is trying to force you to upgrade your first ability. You have the option between either Cutter Kirby or Fire Kirby, so we'll unlock Volcano Fire, which will help us out with some of the boss fights, as well as just moving slightly faster than regular Fire too.
Yeah, so one of the big differences between the fire, or in this case, as we're about to see, volcano and tornado, is when it comes to combat. So volcano is especially good for when you're in boss fights or mini boss fights or any situation where you actually need to fight enemies. Tornado is a little less so.
Yes. Fortunately, in this game, for some reason, they've really buffed up Copyless Kirby. I think it's because there's a lot of upgrades in this game, so they want Copyless Kirby to kind of match that strength. And so, at least for the early game, Copyless Kirby is like insane. But anyways, we're doing the bonker skip. You can go ahead and talk about that.
Yeah, so in this level, the first mini-boss, actually I think the only mini-boss in this level, is Bonkers. But due to the level geometry here, there is an invisible wall that is below the arena. So what you can do here is, if you can gain enough height, you can actually get on top of the wall and go below the arena, which also the trigger that actually activates the fight. So it looks like BombHappy is getting it here, no problem whatsoever. But yeah, so we'll actually be going below the arena here while staying in the water. Gets it perfectly. And that essentially skips an entire mini-boss fight, which if you have to go through it, I think takes up to, I think it's at least 18 seconds in the best case scenario.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome to skip that boss, just because it does take a lot of time to just fight a boss when you could just straight up skip it. But other than that, we are in World 2. There's a lot of fire, a lot of water, but
that mix very well together, as I'm
yeah,
sure you can tell.
Yeah, volcano fire. Unfortunately, there's not a cool little mechanic where you get to see like stones on the water because of volcano fire. Shoutouts to Wind Waker. That was my first time enjoying water and lava mechanics.
Yeah, so that level went by pretty smoothly.
Yeah, it did. So this is actually a minor route change that I end up doing. It's just a comfort pick, honestly. So technically there's actually a Waddle Dee that I could have gotten in the first world, which was a sand sculpture. It's pretty fast to get. I think it is the fastest way to do it, but personally I'm not going to be going for it. We'll be seeing a new ability, though, pretty soon.
So we were mentioning earlier that there are different routes for whether you want to use Volcano versus Tornado, and level 2-2 is where we actually get rid of Volcano. We don't get Tornado quite yet, but there is a Waddle Dee we can get near the end of the level that requires us to use the Drill power-up.
Yes.
So that's mainly what we'll be going for here.
Oh, that is never happened to me before.
First time for everything.
Yeah, honestly, classic in a marathon. You just never see it until it happens. But look, we greeted some seabirds for some Waddle Dees. Beautiful little volcano fire to greet them. I'm pretty sure they were happy about it. And right
Yeah,
here,
it's
this is a
kinda
fast
like-
cycle.
Yeah, so this room is like all based on cycles. It's not too hard to get through the first section unscathed, but if you get hit by any single one of these cannonballs, you are basically 100% guaranteed to lose whatever power-up you have. Which, since we were trying to lose Volcano here anyway, is not the worst thing ever. It'll just affect our movement slightly. But once we get Drill, we really want to hold on to it for the Waddle Dee that we can collect underground. Or, the Waddle Dee we get for collecting what is underground, technically.
There we go. And I love Drill, honestly. In a casual playthrough, I actually did not like Drill too much, just because it wasn't like... It didn't feel strong, it didn't feel good. It was mostly just there to do puzzles. But once we get to the end of the game, you're going to have a huge appreciation for Drill.
Yeah, Drill definitely got a bit of a resurgence in the conversations about strats, so
Yeah.
Stay tuned for that when it comes. I will say, it's not a bad power-up, like, even casually, but compared to the overwhelming love there is for both Tornado and Volcano, it for a long time really paled in comparison.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's just remember that we are at $81 out of 200 on our Ultimate Z challenge. So please get
Ooh.
those donations in because it is at the end of the run.
Yes, it will be in the end of the run. And we definitely want to see some bosses get bullied.
Yeah, so right here we're gonna have the Florina Fight, and depending on what power-up you want to use for the rest of the run, that will greatly affect how you do this fight. In this case, we're using Ice Strats, basically the same thing we did for Gorimondo. And once this fight is over, you're gonna see BombHappy. What is going on right now? Holy moly.
Okay. I did not have the right rhythm there, so that was actually a very slow fight. Very unfortunate, but it's still fine.
Yeah, there's a certain rhythm you have to hit when you do go for the Ice Strats for fights, but you know, if you don't get it, it's not the worst thing ever. It's like you usually don't lose more than a couple seconds from each of the fights, which, you know, in a run this length is not the biggest deal ever.
Oh yeah, we're still good.
But here we get, yeah, but here we're gonna get Archmouth Kirby. Yeah, Archmouth Kirby. And whenever we get this, we essentially have a giant on rails section. So the only way we can like really lose time here is if we collide with the level geometry in any way.
Yep, basically a cute little auto-scroller. There is some small optimizations you can do to bounce off of things to give a little boost. I might actually try for it right now.
Yeah, this is probably, of the few sections we see in 90%, probably the most intricate when it comes to getting those boosts.
Yes.
Of course, you're nailing all of them like child's play.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, so for some reason, whenever you bounce off of a ability of the ground and you do a spin attack, it actually gives you a minor speed boost. Have no idea if it actually saves that much of time, but it is cool, kind of cool to do. Makes the auto-scroll a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting that the mechanic exists in the first place, too. It's like one of those things where it's like, if Nintendo did program it in, you have to wonder why, but... I mean, hey, we're not complaining.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. A speed strat is a speed strat.
Yeah. So one thing that's worth pointing out there is that you might have noticed that when BombHappy collected that cage Waddle Dee, there's a 3-second animation that played, and that will play any single time we collect a Waddle Dee that's in a cage, specifically within the level. And that is actually very important for figuring out which Waddle Dees we go for, if we want to go for those, or ones we get for hitting certain achievements. Because the achievements won't have that 3-second animation, so even though it's a very small amount of time, depending on your route, it can add up.
Yes, it can definitely add up, and so that's why we always go for the objectives. And speaking of objectives, we're actually going to do a fight here that is relatively difficult on Tornado. It shouldn't go too bad, though. And hey, look, we have Tornado. So we'll be seeing this ability for a very long time. I will be trying to bring it around as much as possible until we get into World 6. So we're a long ways with Tornado right now.
Yeah, the run, especially in the earlier days, like definitely had a lot of conversation going between, okay, well, our Tornado strat's faster here, our Volcano strat's faster here, and over time, Tornado definitely basically took over the consensus of top-level strats, but...
Yeah, World 4, I think is just genuinely just straight-up Tornado, but I know there's still competition between World 5, Tornado, and Fire, so... You know, if you're a Fire gamer, you can always use Fire. It's not a problem to use it.
Yeah, the gap really isn't as big as you might think, but it is very open to whatever route you want to use for the most part. So during this fight, it's very important that BombHappy does not touch the water at all, and that is to get a specific Waddle Dee from an achievement, and he nails it.
Yeah,
absolutely no problem. Once you're in the last reel. Yeah, it's that fight is always really scary to watch with Tornado because it always seems like it's somewhat random where the enemies will go at the end of the attack.
Yeah, mine is probably the second phase of that, where the glunks start respawning, and sometimes it just doesn't hit, sometimes with the walls too. And walls are the little blue turtles, by the way. Just letting you know about that.
I always forget what they're called.
Yeah, I only know about that because when I was doing my blindfolded runs, I was like, wait, I kind of need to know the names of these monsters if I want to, like, show proof that I know what's happening. So... just a little information right there.
Yeah, so in these whirlpool rooms, if you're airborne, you basically don't get any, well, you don't get any of the banes, but you also don't get the boons for getting pushed along by the whirlpool or the currents of the water. There are some really neat movement you can do here with the fire or volcano, where if you move along the currents and hit both the jump and ability buttons at the same time, you can get small boosts here and there.
Yeah, it's really cool that you can do a fire while also carrying the current boost, or the speed of the current, which is really cool. But for some reason, I'm really bad at pressing A and B at the same time, so honestly, Tornado's my favorite.
A lot less to worry about input-wise.
Yes, less thought. But on the offside, with Tornado, we do have to do harder strats for some of the bosses, which coming up is Tropic Woods. We are going to be going for the copyless strat, just because Tornado is a terrible combat ability. It's great for movement, not great for combat. And we won't be seeing Tornado at all during this fight.
Yeah, it does kind of work out though. Like when we don't need Tornado for fights, we can just go into copyless mode, which is, you know, super OP by itself anyway. The hard part just becomes making sure that the Tornado doesn't despawn, because after, how long is it? Like maybe 15 seconds, Kirby doesn't have copy ability. It will just disappear entirely.
Yes, and so that's the importance of making sure to juggle your abilities, just because I cannot beat Tropic Woods in less than 15 seconds. So we do have to juggle this ability a little bit. Lost sound is lost. Okay, we'll wait a hot minute here. Let's see. Woohoo! Sound is back. Okay, well, we're getting right into World 3 then.
Perfect.
So I don't know what everyone messed up or missed out, but we definitely beat Tropic Woods with some beautiful copyless strats. There was no mistakes whatsoever. And
Absolutely not.
we're gonna get into World 3 now. Wandaria. It's a really cute place. Has some very spoopy areas as well.
Yeah, so this whole world is based on a giant amusement park that has some like really interesting lore behind it. I don't remember all the details, but I know that the creator's dog, like the creator of this theme park within the game, he used to be an author and like wrote a bunch of books about sending his dogs in space and all that, and basically turned it into a giant amusement park. So if you see a bunch of dogs, those are essentially the mascots based on the creator of this theme park's real life dog. It's very intricate for the little amount of time we spend in this world, but yeah, this entire level, actually the whole world in general, is for the most part is based on cycles. But in this room in particular, we can. Oh, hello.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you go backwards. Yeah, in this room
totally
in particular,
forgot.
you can skip most of the cycles with the tornado ability. If you use the fire or volcano strats, it's a little bit tighter with the cycles you have to make, but this is a level where, like, like the strats that BombHappy's pulling off here, you can pull off with either ability. So what you're meant to do in this room is you're meant to collect the water balloon mouthful mode 3 different times in order to get rid of the mud and build a way up for Kirby. But if you have the tornado, you can just skip right past that utilizing the level geometry.
Yes, it's honestly really awesome. That's probably one of the first skips I found out, and the reason why I got into speedrunning in the first place was just seeing all these like really cool strats just to skip like all the very tedious parts of the game.
Yeah, technically speaking, with that that last water balloon, you don't technically need to use that, but the strats you need in order to skip it completely are not worth it in speedruns.
Yeah.
But
we'll see some shenanigans later. And this is coming up into 3-2. One of my favorite levels, honestly, just because Kirby has one of the most satisfying movements in the game. And you're able to do it twice, and you also get to race it too. You get to race the timer, so honestly, if anyone wants to do shoot a guess on what my first time's gonna be, it's around, I think, 16 to 17 and a half seconds. 16 to 18. Let's go with 16 and 18.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I have faith in you. I think it's gonna be a 1692.
1692. Okay. Let's see.
16.22.
Ooh. Okay. Having a lot of faith in me.
I actually don't even remember what the record is without speed boosts.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is either. But who knows? We'll find out. And ooh, 16.9. Let's go.
You know what? I'll take it. Yeah, very nicely done. Yes, this is the perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. So even though the cage Waldy is like literally right there and only takes like maybe 3 seconds to get to, there are several faster Waddles in this world. So we're just gonna wave by as we go past and get through the rest of the level.
Hopefully I can do this next mini-boss. Sometimes I have trouble with this mini-boss. So hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, it's basically just the same Wild Edge again, but like we mentioned before, we really want to keep the Tornado ability alive, so we don't want to spend too much unnecessary time here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, very smooth.
Yeah, that was a very fast fight. And now, for the second race, I kind of forgot the numbers already. I think it's between.
I think it's like 35
36,
or something.
Yeah, it's like the late 35s into 38s. So you can shoot your guess right there as well.
36.36.
Dang, you have a lot of faith.
36.72.
Ooh, okay. That's a number I'm used to hearing.
Yeah, so one of the waddles we can get are by taking both of the shortcuts that involve crashing through those cardboard boxes, which again is already faster anyway, so might as well benefit in more ways than one by going for it.
Alright, let's see what we get. 37.2. Actually, that's alright. That's not bad. I fell into the mud a little bit there, so reason why I slowed down.
Yeah, that's still really good though.
Yeah, still a good time though.
Yeah, it's really nice how many waddles you get, like literally just by playing as fast as you can.
Yeah, once we get to like World 5, we're gonna be seeing a lot of like off the beat kind of path, off the beaten path. I mean.
So just to note, More Breadsticks was awfully close at 37.27.
Ooh, okay. So what do we give More Breadsticks? More breadsticks?
Lots more breadsticks.
Or do you want some cheese with that? Maybe some olive oil and whatever the other thing you put in?
Dude, marinara sauce all the way.
Ah, yes. If you're cursed like me, ice cream and bread is pretty good.
Honestly, I have had balsamic vinegar with ice cream before, so that does not sound weird at all.
That sounds a lot weirder.
I'm not gonna try it. Anyway, so this is the haunted house level of the run. You'll see a lot of cardboard, I guess they're cardboard, but like cutouts of aliens popping out here and there, and those can be a bit of a nuisance, but since we know exactly where they are, we can at least prepare for them. But if BombHappy gets hit here, there is a definite chance that he'll lose the tornado ability and have to re-pick it back up.
Yeah.
But this room we're in right here, this is a dark room that you're meant to, slowly trudge through as like Bulb Kirby, to, like see where your path is. But since we've gone through the section many times before, we know exactly where the platforms are. Unfortunately, there are a lot of invisible walls, so it's not as simple as like literally just going across the entire room. We actually more or less have to follow the beaten path here.
Oh, that was completely unintentional.
Yeah, so one thing we do want to avoid throughout the entirety of the run is picking up the capsules, because again, at the end of the level, it will, like show you, hey, you collected this capsule, etc. And since they have absolutely no use for in any percent run, there's honestly no upsides to collecting them at all.
Yeah, so we're gonna be seeing like a minor cutscene of shame at the very end, but honestly, it won't affect too much.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I know I've seen people collect capsules before. I think that's the first time I've seen that one get collected in any percent run.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with my brain there, but typically I will never touch that area in general, but it just so happened that I was just magnetized. I was entranced by wanting to grab it. I don't know why, it just happened.
It's okay, you can admit you have a gacha addiction. We're all friends here.
Yeah, funnily enough, Kirby has a gacha machine that you probably have seen in the cutscenes in between the worlds, but it's spelled like gacha, like with a T in there. Just kind of rude, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm pretty sure that's why gacha is called gacha.
Because who doesn't like puns?
Not Kirby, apparently.
Yeah, so right there we actually collected a Waddle Dee that you're not technically meant to get unless you bring the vending machine mouthful mode into this section. So there are, it's really weird to explain that room without showing it visually, but you're meant to get a vending machine curve that we completely skipped to even get on those moving platforms in the first place. But again, because Tornado is OP, we were actually able to skip the requirement altogether.
Yes. Yeah, just a lot faster to skip basically an auto-scroller section, but with the soda machine, unfortunately, we will not see it, but we do have the incentive for the Howl laboratories, so we do get to at least see the soda machine one time.
Yeah, it's very well utilized in the Howl room it's used in.
Yeah, and if you guys want to shoot out that incentive for the Ultimate Cup Z2, I would be so down to bully some bosses for you.
Sadly, not with the vending machine.
We are $119 away from that Ultimate Cup Z, by the way, folks.
That's super close. I'm down to drop a 20 for that, by the way. It's honestly an amazing, incentive to do.
Yeah, I believe in you guys. But anyway, this is 3-4, and this is probably the most notorious level in the entire run in terms of difficulty, because it's based on cycles, and most of the cycles are very, very tight. So in this room here, it essentially starts as soon as BombHappy hits the button at the very start of the room. It's a little easier with Tornado than it is with Volcano, so we got through pretty cleanly. But in this room here, he's going to be making a lot of use of the Tornado ability. So little synopsis on how the Tornado works is, normally when you use it in the air, if you try to use it multiple times in a row, the second time onward will be very, very slow tornadoes. But if you start a tornado while on the ground and then chain a second tornado afterwards, the second tornado will actually have full force and full speed.
Yeah.
It's a really weird mechanic that comes in a lot of use in this level in particular.
Yeah, it's technically a limitation from the three-dimensional Kirby game, where they just don't want you to just cheese everything by flying very easily. So they do have to put that limitation on there.
But even with that limitation, we still cheese things quite a bit.
Yes, there's a lot of cheese coming.
Yeah, the cheese is far from over, believe you me. Yeah, man, that snowman, I swear, is like the devil incarnate.
Yes, Chili is probably my least favorite enemy to deal with, just because not only do they hurt you, they also freeze you. So that's a pretty sad time loss to just get hit by. Sometimes they also drop your ability, which is also not very nice.
Yeah, the one at the end of that level, like, I swear, is 100% guaranteed to get rid of your ability if he hits you. Because, like, the weird thing about this game is that most of the time there's, you know, like a 50-50 chance or like some percentage that Kirby will lose his copy ability, but there are some very specific enemies that 100% will get rid of it if they hit you for whatever reason.
Oh yeah. And up
So,
next... Yep. So
Yeah,
up
coming
next
up
we're
here
going
is-
to Colorline, sorry. We are going to be going to the next boss. Another instance of showing off copyless Kirby. We're going to be juggling Tornado once again. This time, hopefully y'all will be able to see it a lot better with audio. And it's going to be a good time, honestly.
Yeah, this is arguably the hardest boss to do if you don't use the Volcano route. Because again, Tornado is very, very bad for doing boss fights, and Copulus for this fight isn't bad, but it is very tricky and RNG dependent.
Yeah, there's some RNG manipulation here for sure, but yeah. I know there's supposed to be some kind of distance that you're supposed to work with, but it's kind of hard to pull off on one line.
Yeah, the second phase is a lot less RNG dependent, but the execution you need to pull off is definitely a lot harder.
So hopefully this works. Yep, there you go, nice. The second phase, on the other hand, very easy to do once you learn it. Unless I mess it up somehow. You never know, it happens.
Yeah, so this is another instance where we really want to make sure that Auto Swallow is turned off, because if Kirby swallows any of these knives with Auto Swallow on, he'll just use the sword ability right away. And we're not able to spit them all out at Colorline and in the fight lickety-split.
And there you go. Flowerline's dead
Yeah.
for just trying to hit us with their dive attack.
Yeah, it can be really annoying in that fight if you miss a single one of the blades when trying to suck them up, because if you do just too little damage, Colorline can go back up to the rafters and go through another phase of toss knives at you, and it doesn't lose that much time, but it's still really annoying.
Yeah, it's not the greatest, but honestly, I also didn't know you could inhale the knives. I thought they were just a hazard, but after watching some speedruns, it does happen. And it gives you sword too. That's also I didn't know about that either.
Yeah, it's one of those things that like you can very easily overlook if you don't pay attention to the speedrun and seen it all.
Yeah.
So it's really neat that they added that as a feature.
You never saw sword swallowers as a kid?
Yes. I
was
have.
gonna say this is the circus, so no, it makes sense. Makes sense.
But also, this is going to be a pretty decently long cutscene, so if there's anything to shout out or any new donations, feel free to shoot it out.
Unfortunately, there's no new donations yet. However, we do still need that incentive. We would love to say thank you to everybody that has participated in this, and to, again, please donate to Child's Play. We would appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I would honestly appreciate it too, just because it's a great event too. It helps out all the kids out there, and also you get to see me bully some bosses. But at least for the Waddle Dees, we can see in this town that the more Waddle Dees you unlock, the more things that also get unlocked. So right now, just because of how the speedrun setting happens, this is like the bare minimum amount that you can unlock. They're really cute things to interact with in a casual play. And we'll see that Meta Knight one time, and we're not going to see him ever again.
Let's look at that incentive, of course.
Yes, you will see Meta Knight if we hit the incentive.
Yeah, so welcome to the Winter Homs. So this whole area is, actually this whole world, I think is meant to be based off of the UK, or at least London, which is a very nice aesthetic choice. But it's all based on a very snowy setting, in case that wasn't obvious already. And a lot of the Waddle Dees we'll get here are they're not too far out of the way, which is nice. But we'll be getting a lot in the first 3 levels of this world, and significantly less in the last level.
Yes.
So if it seems like we're collecting a lot more Waldies here than usual, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah. So this room right here.
Honestly, for this one, just want to shout out to the chat saying that this music's great. Yes, I love this place. The music's great. The aesthetic's great. I honestly love ice-themed worlds in general. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this level right here is very cycle-based, but again, with Tornado, it's really easy to make all the cycles you need to. You'll also see BombHappy is destroying all of these snow animals in the level to get a Wildly. That's probably one of the slower Wildlies we get in this route, but even then, when you compare it to the other Wildlies we get throughout World 4, it's like still decently fast by comparison.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We do have a new donation from our very own Manix86 for $10, and he says, "Let's bully those bosses."
I'm super down. And you get to see some new abilities as well, so that's also a killer as well. We get to either choose between Chalk and Kirby or one of the special swords, and I would love to be able to show off either of them. And so right there, if you notice, there was this huge staircase that we can do, scaffold. But with the power of Tornado and its horizontal movement, we actually just straight up skip the intended puzzle, which is to bring them to the ladders, but who needs that when you have Tornado?
Yeah, so many skips, like, just in the last room of that level. Yeah, even getting to the clock tower, you're meant to get that from the final platform here with the last set of Waddle-Dees. But if you have Tornado or Volcano, you can just get it from the platform beforehand. Save a little bit of time from needing to hit all the buttons that are placed on the second to last platform. So, very well done.
Thank you, thank you.
So coming up here, if you're not familiar with the run, some of the things that BombHappy does in this level may seem a little weird, but we're entering the subway here. And the first room isn't anything too special, but the second room has an arena that we're going to encounter a couple of, not bonkers, but hammer-wielding enemies here. And those guys are actually very important because in addition to needing to destroy them to get through the arena, we're actually going to try to suck up their hammer ability and immediately spit it out. And that's because in this game, as well as a bunch of other Kirby games, if you eat 2 enemies at once, or swallow 2 enemies at once that have copy abilities, you'll enter a mix where you will go into essentially a roulette of all of the abilities that Kirby has obtained throughout the run. And we're going to need Hammer as a part of that mix for a very important reason that we'll see before too terribly long.
Yeah, and it's one of my favorite skips, biased because I did discover it. We did have a runner, his name is Cog, which is a really good runner by the way, and he made an optimization to my strat as well. So love to show off that strat. It saves a huge amount of time, and we'll definitely explain that more once we get there.
If you haven't seen it before, oh boy, are you in for a treat. So after we get this chest D, we'll come to a room that has some pretty interesting movement for the Tornado. So normally it's not as effective to do the slide canceling when you have the Tornado ability, but in this case it sets us up nicely to make it to these moving stairs before they are able to move back. And when you have the Tornado ability, you can actually jump off this platform here and go to another set of moving platforms, which you're not meant to reach this way at all. There's actually a whole back path you're meant to traverse. But again, Tornado is OP, so if we want to cheat in a children's game with it, it is actually very easy to do so here.
Yep, and that will be the end of the level. So we are grabbing quite a bit of Ds now. I think we are needing 23 Waddle Ds, so definitely a lot more to grab here. And so, as Uncle Slam said before, we're grabbing a lot just because we're not going to be grabbing any of them for the last level.
Yeah, so for comparison, besides the Waddle Dees you get at the end of all the levels here, you need to collect, I believe it is 11 in this world, which is a definite step up from just the 5 we needed in World 1, for example.
Yeah, it definitely adds up, especially once we hit World 5, where there's going to be some Waddle Dees that just seem super slow to grab, but it's the fastest we can muster.
Yeah, like if you saw some of the other Waddle Dees that we have to choose from, aye.
Yeah, there's some very slow ones, for sure, but I think we have it pretty optimized.
I would agree. It's especially interesting to see like how many of the Waddle Dees overlap between whatever route you want to use between Volcano and Tornado. This one, for example, has a very different strat you can use as Volcano, which is actually the intended way to get into that room beyond the wind. But with Tornado, you can also just barely do it by positioning yourself well. Mm-hmm. And right here, we're going to see the Rinmouth Kirby, and there are a couple different ways you can do this room. So BombHappy here is going for a strat that actually lets us clip outside of the gate. Does not get it, but that's okay because this route is only, I think it's only like 1 second slower, so it's like pretty negligible at that. But
yeah,
if you actually do this the intended way, you can collect 3 food in this room, for example. And that will also get you a Waddle Dee, but...
Yeah, unfortunate I wasn't able to do that clip, but it would have been cool if I pulled it off.
Yeah, if you did, like, all those enemies you would have seen spawn in the water section, like, none of them would have been there just based on the flags that the game sets to trigger them.
Yep. And you actually don't lose too much time just because since we did grab some seafood, it does unlock that random objective that will speed up the second section, or the end of the level, just a little bit more.
And we have another donation from Sato Stitch for $15, saying, just starting learning this run today, and I am so excited to learn all these tricks, hopefully soon. Keep it up and let's see the arena.
Ooh, I'm super down. Hey, as advice, fire is good. If you want to do Tornado and make it difficult for yourself, definitely go for it. I love Tornado myself, but you know, fire, still a good ability to use. But
yeah,
coming up,
we keep saying it's...
Yep.
Go ahead.
So coming up in 4-4, so this level was intended to be a boss gauntlet with all the mini bosses that you've fought so far, but with this special trick that we are going to do, we get to just skip everything. And so hopefully I can get it first try. If not, we can always just go for a redo.
Yeah, this trick is definitely imperative in the 80% run now. It's called an HSJ, and I would explain it verbally, but I think I'll let BombHappy do the work for me with these flashy moves.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah, so this is exactly where the eating the hammer before it comes into play, because we need it in the mix at some point for this level specifically. And because we have 2 enemies at the very start that have copy abilities, if we hit them both at once, we can start the mix and potentially get the hammer from it. And the hammer can be used for some pretty magical things.
Yeah, and so I'm just gonna go for the safe strat here. I just went for a fast mix, which is the faster variation, but definitely we're just gonna go with safe.
So far, so good.
Okay, we're gonna keep trying. It is, at least in this particular instance, a frame perfect and frame second trick as well. So hopefully I got it. Sounds pretty good. Yeah, we're good. We're in the clear.
Nice, very nice.
Oh no! What was that?
Oh, whoa! I have never seen that before.
Okay, well we're going for the backup strat then.
Yeah, luckily there is another hammer that's right here that you don't even need to mix for. So.
Oh my god, that has never happened to me. That was insane.
Yeah, I've never seen it like actually get you up there and then like. That was so weird.
Yeah, that hasn't happened before. Said the thing. But hopefully we can get it a second try.
That looks pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay,
We made it. We made
got
it.
Yeah, so in case of none of you were aware, hammers make you fly. Try it in real life. I promise it'll work.
Yeah.
So basically, based on the physics engine, it's like there's some weird. Oh dear.
There's
yeah,
a
you got it.
lot.
Okay.
There's a lot going wrong here, but we are still doing the skip.
Yeah, so basically, what you're able to do is you're able to soar really high in the air with hammer. I'm not going to get into the real nitty gritty of it. And based on how Kirby is able to inhale copy abilities, it doesn't matter how high he is above them, as long as the horizontal range is long enough. Kirby can suck up copy abilities like the tornado as high as he needs to, as long as they're still on the ground.
Yeah, it's
Blow him.
It's definitely a good thing that I discovered that trick, because technically that's the backup hammer strat that usually never happens. But fortunately, that's how I first did it. But the initial attempt that I did is the optimized way to doing it, because there is a wild edge fight, which in the beginning I did the wild edge fight and then did the hammer trick. But definitely love that skip a lot. The mechanics of like 3 things all together is just amazing. Love this.
Yeah,
love the mix. Love the vertical inhale. Love the hammer super jump.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like that level has gone through multiple iterations. I think every single one has required a different mix.
Yes. Before there was the Waddle Dee, where casually one of the hardest Waddle Dees to get in my opinion, which is fighting 2 Wild Frosties at the same time and not taking any damage. But we just skipped that by using Crash, but we don't need to do that anymore.
Unless you really, really like it, but it's slow, we don't care. Yeah, so here we have a very familiar face. And, yeah, the DD fight, again, is another one where we basically just need to conserve the tornado while trying to do this copulus. Oh, it's a pretty... Ooh.
Yeah, it's a pretty rough one, but it's fine. We just have to do a slower second phase, which is okay.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Kirby does actually have an auto-aim feature of sorts, where he will try to, if you're trying to spit something at an enemy, even if your angle is a little bit off, it'll try to accommodate for it. But that doesn't really account for verticality very well. And because DD goes airborne quite a bit in this fight, it can get a little bit annoying.
Do some stars for me, buddy. Thank you. Nice.
Alright, good backup, good backup. Yeah, so ideally you would finish that phase before DD starts swinging the hammer around while stationary, but...
Yeah, there's some star math there. So you're supposed to hit DD in such a way where the second phase is HP is extremely low, where you only need to do 2 hammer swings in order to beat him. I think there was an optimized strat. I can't remember how it goes, but definitely could have done that a lot better. But we still have Tornado, which is the most important part. And no, look, Elflin!
No, friend!
Oh no, now he can't tell me to pick up blueprints before the bosses!
What a darn shame!
Oh, what a shame. But just because we are freaking out a little bit, we need to save Elflin. So we're not going to go back to town, we're going to go immediately into the wastes where life began.
Yeah, that's one of the, I think that's the only case where after you finish a world, it won't immediately bring you back to the Waddle Dee town.
Yeah, and definitely a great name for Kirby as well, a waste where life began.
Yeah, so this level in particular, 5-1, despite us saying that we'd be collecting a bunch of slower Waddle Dees, I think in your route, BombHappy, I think you only collect 1 additional Waddle Dee in this level besides the 3rd at the end, correct?
Yes. So I only take the Takoyaki Lost Squishy. So fun fact, Takoyaki has is either a squid or an octopus food, and the Lost Squishy was next to 2 Takoyakis. So Rip's Lost Squishy, probably traumatized that his friends are food now.
I never noticed that, and that is savage. Holy moly.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
I knew Kirby games were dark, but wow.
Yeah, but we'll see a darker variation of the second to last boss too, so look forward to that as well. Oh.
Yeah, so there is like one other somewhat fast Waldy you can get in that level, but it requires getting a mouthful mode and, you know, having to backtrack a little bit, so it is still a little bit on the slower side compared to some of the Waldies we see in previous worlds, but...
Yeah, I'm gonna be going for a more difficult Waddle Dee, which technically is like a 1 or 2 second save in comparison to grabbing the Waddle Dee here. But it's not a big deal. Hopefully I just don't mess it up.
Yeah, I will say, I was impressed when I saw that in your run, that you actually went for that Waddle Dee. Like, it is not easy to go for at all.
Yeah, it's not. But we are coming up to one of the most broken abilities in the game that will allow us to get a Waddle Dee.
Yeah, so of all the copy abilities in this game, you know, the ones you might think would be most helpful for, you know, like speedrun are, you know, any that affect movement or like any that give you a bunch of, you know, combat power for fights and all that. So, you know, tornado, fire, but one of the ones you might not think would be useful at all in the speedrun is sleep. But lo and behold, there are 2 Waddle Dees in this pool area, one of which is just in the pool proper, and one you literally get just by taking a nap by the pool.
And there we go. One of my favorite ones. I love seeing that in the casual run. I was like, oh, I get to sleep. It was so cute. I slept on top of the little water chair too.
Yeah, but even though it's, you know, even though that looks like a very hands-off section right there, since, you know, you're literally asleep, you do still need to mash there to get through the waking up animation as quickly as possible. So
yeah, we get to sleep fast. That's what we have to do.
yeah, power naps, the best kind. And here, BombHappy getting up there on a really good cycle actually to get the Cage Waddle Dee. Depending on how quickly you can get up there, that platform can either be right next to where you climb the ladder or on the opposite side of that that rail.
Alright, we're going for a unoptimal trick right here. Hopefully I got it. I did not get it. We'll try for it one more time. Definitely a lot slower than the original pathway you take here. But I love doing it just because it's kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. Come on.
Yeah, drill definitely has its uses. This is there. Okay, second try is still not bad. But
yeah.
Yeah. So there actually is a Waddle Dee or 2 that you're meant to use the drill for here, but using the drill in that case is quite slow. So luckily we can use the tornado to get up to that button there, raise that water, and use it to get 2 additional Waddle Dees. So the first one we get just by getting rid of these 2 poison crocums. And one of them, the one we see up there, actually has another Waddle Dee hidden behind it, so you really do get 2 Waddle Dees for the price of 1. And this first one is not cooperating for some reason. I could have sworn you hit it 4 times.
Yeah, it's because I took too long to hit it the second time, and I guess he regenerated too much. Yeah, it was a tragedy.
Yeah, I guess that would do it.
It'd be like that sometimes. So not bad. I think we're on a decent pace. I unfortunately forgot to put my splitters, so I actually don't know how ahead I am, or how behind I am right now.
Oh gosh, I should have brought up the timer myself.
It's okay. We'll just base it off the stream and hope for the best.
Yeah, right.
106.
Okay, 106? That's pretty good. I want to say that's 2 minutes behind, maybe a minute and a half compared to my PB, which is still well within the estimate.
Yeah, for those of you who aren't aware, BombHappy actually does have the world record on the physical version of this game, so...
yeah, world record, yes. Yeah. Just because I bought the game for collection reasons, I didn't realize I was going to end up speedrunning this game, so yeah, I'm technically the highest ranking physical player, and the differences between those two is, I want to say 30 to 40 seconds.
I think it's like 40 seconds, yeah.
There's a lot of like load times that are just worse on physical in comparison to digital.
Yeah. So this level is basically the sequel to Lipo Mall, where I believe this level is literally just called Lipo Mall Staff Side, which I assume they meant to say branch because if we're to believe that this is the same mall as before, I don't know how it ended up on an entirely different continent.
True.
But,
I mean, there's teleportation out here.
You know, fair point. Hashtag lore.
Yeah, true. I mean, we'll see some a little bit of that lore later. Maybe.
Yeah, the only wildly, if I'm not mistaken, that you get in this level is the one you get for eating 3 different kinds of ice cream.
Yes, and speaking of ice cream, what is everyone else's favorite ice cream? My personal favorite, I don't know. Maybe mint chocolate chip or birthday cake. It depends on my mood, honestly.
Mine's a three-way tie between mint chocolate chip, cookies and cream, and coffee.
Oh, cookies and cream. I haven't had that in a hot minute.
I'm
So good.
diabetic.
What was that again?
I said I'm diabetic, so I don't really got one, but if I have to, it's vanilla.
Vanilla? That's a classic.
Can't go wrong there. But yeah, most of the wildies in that level in particular rely on taking up different mouthful modes for Kirby and fitting them in walls like we did with the cone earlier, and just collecting them in general and going through all those animations is super slow. And on top of that, all the wildies you get from those are in cages, so that's another 3 seconds for each one of those we want to get. So that level is definitely one we just want to get in, get out, and be done with.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll be seeing like literally most of the wildies here. Also, I do like cookies and cream. Also, Rocky Road was a classic for me too. That was one of my favorites when I was younger.
Yeah, Rocky Road is like really hit or miss for me. I'm more of a Moose Tracks guy by comparison.
Oh, yeah.
But
If you guys remember Baskin Robbins, mine was bubblegum ice cream.
That sounds honestly pretty bomb.
It had chunks of bubblegum in it, so while you were eating ice cream, you
Oh,
also
maybe
got
I don't
bubblegum.
like that anymore. But
as I'll say, I like to. Well, actually, let's back to the run.
Yes.
So this level has a lot of different sections and a lot of moving parts to it. So there is a dark section here that is much easier to get through than what we saw in the haunted house earlier. But there is a particular wildly that BombHappy is going to go for here that requires like some very, very precise lines in order to get with the tornado. And it looks like he nailed it first try, like it was nothing.
Yeah.
Most routes do not actually use that wildly because it's fairly faster and very hard to get. And if you use the volcano route, then like there's no chance you're gonna get it. But BombHappy being the professional he is makes it look easy.
Yeah, definitely. I even went for the riskier strat, which is to not cancel tornado early. Because if you do cancel tornado early, it allows you to have a little bit more stall time in the air in comparison to just letting it fall down naturally. So I just felt confident in the movement there.
Also, Banger Alert.
Yes, Banger Alert, one of the best songs in the game.
Hands down. But yeah, so a lot of the wildies, so we'll see several that we get from cages. There's another one you get for destroying all 3 of the posters in the level. So that's one of the things you need to keep in mind as you go through. And best part of all in this level, we get Volcano back.
Yes, so we get to see Volcano again. Very important for the next boss. And I'm actually going to try and go for a swag strat here. This loses a lot of time, so never do this unless you just want to have fun with the game.
Yeah, so there's actually a trick you can do where if you're like, I think you need to be directly underneath the archway when you suck it up. It will completely eliminate the animation it takes for actually going inside Kirby's mouth. I have never seen this before.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't? Okay, well, hopefully I can pull it off. Yes, we did it. Okay, so we're technically out of bounds from the ceiling that was intended, so now we just get to float above the whole entire course. And we can do a little bit of some bounces here. This does not save time, by the way, but hey, look, we get to see a huge view. Look at those rings. We don't need rings. We get to just see Kirby not exist.
Oh my gosh, this The visuals, man. Holy moly.
Yeah, the fog is really cool. I think when you're unintentionally out of bounds, they put that huge fog. But we'll just come back down. We need to bring ourselves back.
Yeah, that plus all the streaks on the side of the screen. That's wow.
Yeah, a lot of fun to do. Definitely, I think I don't know, I've never timed it, but I'm gonna say it's probably about 20 or 30 seconds of worth of loss, just because you have to hold up to be cool, and holding up just loses you a lot of speed.
Yeah, so even though like that is an on-rails section for the most part, like it actually does care about whether you're gaining or losing altitude. And obviously we can mitigate that by going for the bouncing off the grounds strats, but even then, the more we can mitigate changing altitude, the better in general.
Okay, we've got Manix86 with a $2 donation saying, I would like to board the $2 train to the Ultimate Cup Z station, please.
Hey.
Choo-choo.
Woo! I'm super down for that. And hey, if you want to put your favorite ice creams down in the donations too, I'm always down to hear what you like.
Yeah, feel free to say we're wrong about our love for cookies and cream, mints, chocolate chip.
Birthday cake, I get crucified for doing birthday cakes. It'd be like
I mean,
that
the thing
sometimes.
with birthday cake ice cream is that like you can make it so many different ways with so many different toppings. It's like it's hard to find, a birthday cake ice cream that it's really easy to find some version of it that pretty much anyone will like.
Oh, and I remember cookie dough too. Cookie dough is really good. I like saying cookie dog to confuse people too. Cookie dog is very delicious.
See, I live in Michigan, so we have this ice cream flavor called Superman that literally no one else knows what it is.
What is it?
It's like a red, yellow, and blue ice cream. I think like the yellow is meant to be lemon, and then you have cherry and blueberry as well. But I don't know. I prefer the chocolatey flavors over the fruity ones personally.
Oh, it's like a different kind of Neapolitan, huh?
Basically, actually.
Alright, but look at that. Silly Dillo, one of our favorite homies out here. He is the reason why we have wanted posters around these maps. Quite the silly fellow.
Yeah, so the first phase of the fight is like extremely easy. All you have to do is spit fire at him and jump a single time and you're basically done. The second phase, you actually want him to roll at you at particular angles, because the longer he rolls, the longer it takes for his future attacks to come out. So depending on how you want to tackle the fight, you might want to get him to go straight across the arena like BombHappy does here. Alternately, you can get him to go on angles and hit the walls a little bit quicker than he otherwise would. And when he pulls out his partner here, he has a much wider range of attack that you need to watch out for, but you can still hit him with the fire pretty easily and get him to go in a pretty favorable line while still getting hit by the fire. And as we get into the phase where he starts throwing out his mates, he actually has a safe spot right up next to him, so it makes it very, very easy to get some last attacks in before the fight finishes. That was a very, very clean fight overall. GG.
Yeah, not bad. Usually I'm able to beat Silly Dillo before the spin attacks happen after his little dance with his friend, but still not a bad fight. Still not a bad fight.
We got time for another donation?
Yep, go for it.
We got one from Carter Freak for $15, and he says, I hurt my wall a little too much on day one. I think we all did. So this is all I can afford right now, but I want to help us meet the last incentive. Thank you everyone who has taken part in the marathon, either by restreaming, hosting, running, or donating. It means a lot to me, and I genuinely appreciate you all. We all appreciate everybody, especially you, Carter.
Yeah, thanks for the event. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Also, BombHappy, I can't believe you forgot that blueprint. How dare you?
Elflin didn't tell me, so I didn't care. But also,
For
we need to save
shame.
Elflin.
On a side note, we are now $92 short of the Ultimate Z champion.
Oh, yes. Okay. Alright, we're very close there. We're basically halfway there. I mean, I'm down to shoot a $20 donation for this, so, that's $72 right there.
I believe it will get there.
And also a minor swag strat here again. It's a little bit of some out-of-bounds shenanigans.
Yeah, so this trick right here is actually kind of similar to the
No.
HSJs we saw in 4-4, where it abides by basically the same principles. You can get it with the fire and volcano abilities, but it's just a lot easier with the hammer. You can get it with a couple other abilities as well. I'm just not 100% sure what the whole list is. And this Woofy like does not want to cooperate. Holy moly!
Yeah, that was a player skill issue. I won't lie, but yeah, usually right there I'm able to go very high up, just because the vertical ceiling just does not exist at the beginning of that level. So we're able to just float above there, and I should have hit the highway bridge there, but unfortunately I was just a little bit too short on pressing A.
Yeah. I do want to point out that one of the Waddle Dees we get in this level, I think the only one we get actually, unless I'm mistaken, requires us to defeat the 2 Lookout Woofies in that first room there. The first one you saw can kind of be a nuisance, but the second one, it's like you can sneeze on it and it'll just fall into lava and
It's not very nice. Yeah, it's not very nice.
Yeah, so this room here is another one that's like, it's kind of sort of cycle based. Basically, the faster you're able to get through it, the faster the meters will spawn and destroy future parts of the level, which you need to happen in order to progress. But it's very easy to misjudge where you are and do a fire burst where you don't want to. And when that happens, it's very easy to fall into the lava, respawn way further back in the level, and yeah, it can be a bit of a hassle.
Yeah, it does not feel good falling into the lava there. Messed up the little meteor cycle. I tried going for it. I usually don't, but it was worth a shot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely one of those tricks that, like, if you're not super familiar with the run, like, you might not even notice as time loss.
Yeah. You don't notice it until you start getting into all those minor optimizations.
Definitely. Yeah, the next level 6-2 will actually look pretty similar to this level here, because apparently lava levels are meant to look exactly the same in all video games ever.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but this one actually has a lot more interesting tricks to it, so it's also very heavily based on cycles, and the first room in particular is very brutal with some of these cycles you can make. But it does have a trick near the end, so at the end of this first section here, we will see another mini-boss. It is, I forget his name, the Walrus dude.
Oh, Wall Frosty.
Wild Frosty, thank you. And there actually is an achievement for defeating him with the Crash ability, which if we do that will instantly end the fight anyway. So there's basically no reason not to do it, but we still want to maintain the volcano here. So what BombHappy is going to do here is he's going to do a very particular setup to keep the volcano on the breakable platforms there. Go up after he gets the Crash ability, defeat Wild Frosty with one single use of the Crash ability, get rid of him so he can lower the barrier again, jump off, get the volcano back, and get a slab of meat on the side of their arena, all before the volcano power-up disappears, and yeah.
Yeah, that was actually the
Absolutely
first
nails it.
instance of the early game, or the early routing of this game where people found out about the vertical inhale, so that was my inspiration of doing the 4-4 bridge skip there, just because of that crash strat. And also, you know what I realized? Wild Frosty does not get a break in this run.
He really doesn't. Like, we either skip him entirely or he dies immediately. It's like there's no... I never realized that either, holy moly.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. He kind of gets bullied a lot, doesn't he?
Poor dude.
It'd be like that sometimes, I guess. Just immediately dying.
Well, we can bully him more if we get $72 more to our incentive here.
Alright.
Leave him alone, he's already dead.
Alright, so going for a little swag strat here, this is like a 2-second loss again. But if I do this right, instead of using that ring beam mouthful mode on a boat, we get to just go on this huge expanse of lava with volcano fire. And that was very tragic. We'll try again one more time.
Leave.
Okay, there you go. I think this is really just like a cool little scene to see, just going over this volcano fire, looking like you're about to die, but you don't. Yeah, there you go. You made it.
Yeah, it's definitely a flashy trick that even though it doesn't save any time, it's like it's very cool to show off. You know, like if you're at a party, it's like, hey guys, want to see something neat?
Hey, you guys want to wait an hour and 22 for me to do this trick? Watch.
You know, as if like boating over lava wasn't already cool enough.
Yeah, we gotta show off being able to fire or dash across it.
Yeah, this next level is a very cool one. It might be my favorite in the entire run, where instead of your typical lava world affair, we get to go through a giant factory.
Yes.
And this level in particular has a lot of Waddle Dees we collect. One of the biggest ones simply being that we can collect it by not getting crushed the entire level. So it's pretty easy to avoid doing that, but if you're caught on a really bad cycle or get hit when you're not intended to, you might have to improvise to make sure that doesn't happen. But there's also a neat skip we can get in this room right here as we're inside the factory now, where you're meant to go inside, like go between two of the walls and break some breakable blocks or crates. But instead, we can go up top and hit one of them with the very wide attack range we get from Volcano. We weren't kidding before when we said that the Volcano ability, or Fire and Volcano in general, really expand your hitbox. So the fact that you can just clip it through the floor there is insane.
Yeah, exactly. And also one of the Waddle Dees we'll be grabbing is coffee. So if you notice, that wasn't a Wolfie sleeping with the coffee, so we kind of took his caffeinated drink to keep him on his proper patrol.
Hey, listen, I mentioned that one of my favorite flavors was coffee ice cream. We need it for the recipe, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're right. Sorry, Naughty, this is my coffee too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of level geometry here. You can actually skip over if you want to. So right here, by using the fire and hitting the top of that metal box, you can actually skip having to go through the lower part of the end of that crusher room. And in here, we can. What you're meant to do is you're meant to wait for these walls to move towards Kirby hole-in-the-wall style, and basically just skip to the end of the platforms, collect Cone Bee, and that actually, by going through the rest of the level here, will trigger the last part of the room to come forward, which normally you'd have to wait another, I want to say, 5 to 10 seconds for it to reach you.
Yeah, you basically are skipping the auto-scroller right there.
Yeah, which it's weird that trigger exists, but again, we don't question it. We are just glad it exists there for speedrun purposes.
Oh yeah. And looking here, this is gonna look a little weird. Usually we're trying to go as fast as possible through these levels, but we're actually gonna go back home to Waddle Dee Town to grab some ability boosts for us so that we can actually just steamroll through the last of this part of the level. So even though it looks slow with all the downtime and cutscenes, it's definitely like I want to say a minute or two save for going this route.
Yeah, so BombHappy mentioned earlier that as we collect more Waddle Dees throughout the run, more facilities will be built in the Waddle Dee town, and by far the most important one for our purposes here is the potion shop. So in the upper right corner there, you can see this Waddle Dee sells 3 different kinds of potions. The first one, the green one, which we will not be using, will double your health bar, but the other 2 are the important ones. So one of them will actually make Kirby's attacks much more powerful, and I believe you'll be getting 2 of those, correct?
Yes.
Alright, so
for the sake of safety, I am going to go for 3 attack potions if I can afford it.
okay, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, you should be able to afford it. Yeah. But yeah, so you can go for 2 or 3 depending on the route you want to use.
Oh, I don't have
and
enough.
in addition to that, the blue potions will give Kirby a speed boost. So in a speedrun setting, it obviously makes sense to get that one, and it will actually help us get 1 or 2 skips in the next 2 levels. So both of these very important, and you'll see why the attack boost is so important in 6-4, because it is essentially the same as 4-4, where it's a boss gauntlet, except here we actually do have to fight all of the bosses instead of just flying over them.
Technically, you can actually skip the bosses, but it's like severely slow in comparison.
Yeah, not only that, you have to like really adjust your waddling route to accommodate for it, and it's not worth it. But it is possible, so.
Oh.
Yeah, so it is important to note that each of the potions has a 200-second countdown. So while we have control over Kirby, most of the time anyway, we do want to try to lose as little time as possible, not only because it's slower in general, which is bad for a speedrun, but also because we want to make sure that the potions last as long as we need them for. Also, we literally just annihilated Gorimondo with Crash there with the help of the power boost, so that is a perfect example of how much time we save in that one fight alone, even though we go back to the Waddle Dee town.
Yeah, before we discovered the Crash strat, there was just a regular Volcano Fire strat where it was kind of like RNG because you couldn't kill Gorimondo fast enough because of that.
Yeah, so there's a 50-50 chance in that fight where if Gorimondo hits you, he will get rid of your ability. And with Volcano, if you use those strats, you do ideally want to get hit once. And if he gets rid of your Volcano ability, then it takes a lot more time than you'd like it to take.
And hey, look, we got Drill now.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and let this fight speak for itself.
Oh, wow, that hasn't happened.
Yeah, a bit of a shame, but so when I said Drill got a really big resurgence in recent months, the fights in certain boss rooms were part of that, because if you have the attack boost with Drill, you can very easily dispatch bosses with a particular pattern on the floor based on how the Drill attack works. It's all based on geometry and like the shape of your. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's it's a little weird. But basically with the speed boost. Okay. Basically with that speed boost, it allows you to make a bigger silk roll than usual before you're forced to jump out, and it allows you to have more multiple attacks spike out from the ground, which combine that with power boost, you basically one-shot Silly Dill. Didn't one-shot Silly Dill there, but it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, the pattern is like, it's not super picky necessarily, but if you mess up your movement just a little bit too much, then it's really hard to get the quickest kill. But the Drill in the fights is also like a very new strat in general, so.
Oh, did I not get all of them?
I think you only got, 4.
That's fine. It'd be like that.
Yeah, still a very fast fight.
Yeah, poor Clawline. That one is kind of the scarier ones, just because if you do get hit, you lose the objective, don't get hit by Clawline. And then, just because I'm a blindfolded runner, I'm gonna go ahead and take a nap right here. You can talk if you want to.
Yeah, I did mention before that, so the potion effects, you can see the counters in the upper left there with speed being at 300 and attack being at 100. So those will count down most of the time in levels, but in certain mouthful modes, like this one for example, because Kirby can't really benefit from having the attack boost or the speed boost, the timers will freeze. So it'll happen for this. It'll happen for this mouthful mode. I'm trying to remember what others it applies to. I think it applies to what's it called? Like the shelving units. Yeah, there are a few it applies to and a few it doesn't. But yeah, so coming to the end of this roller coaster section here.
Good morning.
There is a backup Waddle Dee on the left here that you don't need to get, but for the sake of a possible accident happen at the very end of 6-5, BombHappy is going to get it anyway, just in case. And we will explain that more when we get there.
Yeah, so I think if I grab an extra Waddle Dee here, I think we should be fine with our time. I think we're just 2 minutes behind, and I think if I mess up really badly, it'll be like a 2-minute loss. Which, you know, we're going for gold here. We're going for gold here.
You're currently at 132.26.
132, okay. We're actually getting pretty close to the end of the run, so, you know, donations. You know, I'm super down to bully some bosses for the sake of the children, and no other reason whatsoever. So, $72 if I put my 20 in. So, you know, that's all we need. That's all we know.
And you still do have the Howl Room incentive met after this, so you got a little bit more time, folks.
Yeah, just a little bit.
So this room is, boy, this is the level. So the first section here, we're gonna try to eliminate the entire first room of, well, not the entire first room, but like the first little section of this room of the enemies, because we get a Waddle Dee for doing that, and it's pretty quick to do so anyway. But we're also gonna try to get the hammer from the ape on the left, which we get no problem. And that's because we're going to be seeing a couple more HSJs throughout this level. So the first one's going to be at the end of this rail section. This section is actually like pretty weird to get through because you have to angle your movement very strangely. Because it's not a perfect 45-degree angle. It's
not that great.
Like yeah, it's weird. But so at the end of this room, okay, so BombHappy's going for a little bit of a safer approach, where he only needs to go for one HSJ. So by getting up here, we actually skip going into an otherwise required room, which, you know, there's a Waddle Dee in there we're meant to collect, and once we exit the room, the floor above us will lower, allowing us to go through the rest of the level. But by doing an HSJ, we can get enough height that we can bypass that entirely. I think you can get to the platform. Yes, I can. Perfect. And we're going to do something similar in this next section here. I'm actually not sure what version you're going to go for.
I'm going for the boat skip.
Okay, so this is the hard version of this skip, where basically in older routes, it was actually even in some current routes, you can go into the next room and immediately exit it without collecting the otherwise required Waddle Dee in there. But by doing some very precise movement with HSJs, we're actually able to bypass going into the room entirely. And oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're in the clear. We're in the clear.
I think you got it right.
Yes. Yeah, we got it.
Yes, excellent, perfect. So yeah, you can do that, and this is it's not a horrible amount faster than
I want to say it's
the older
20
route,
seconds.
but it looks so much flashier.
Yeah, that was actually a very clean double hammer super jump. So just a little bit of some information back there. So when you go for the second super jump afterwards, after doing the first one, your hammer bounces become a lot weaker. So that means it's basically like the double frame perfect. I think the first one's a little bit more leeway, but the second one has to be like a really good hammer super jump in order for me to have enough height to get past that invisible wall. But super clean, and it looked cool, just seeing a lot of out-of-bounds shenanigans right there.
Yeah, even being able to pull it off once, like in practice, not even in a run, but just being able to pull it off at all is so impressive. So the fact that BombHappy got it in a run, in a marathon run no less, is extremely, extremely impressive.
Yeah, we just need to see if Leongar skip is also going to be good.
We have another donation from Anonymous for $20 saying, "Love you guys." Less than 3. We love you too.
Ooh, let's go. Thank you, thank you. And how close are we on to the incentive now?
$52 short.
Ooh, oh my god. We're almost there to bully some bosses, everybody.
We have time. We can absolutely get there.
And hopefully,
so yeah, so I did mention earlier that there was a backup Waddle Dee that BombHappy got, and that is because the last Waddle Dee you want to collect in the run, in order to unlock the final boss of this world, is gotten by not falling into the lava while you have the Cone Waddle Dee ability here, which is unfortunately easier to do than you might think, especially at the very end of a, hour-and-a-half plus long run.
Yeah.
So if you do fall at the very end of the run and don't have enough Waddle Dees, then you have to go back to one of the other levels in World 6, collect a Waddle Dee you have not collected already, and that adds at least 2 more minutes to your time, and it's the worst feeling ever, I swear.
Yeah, it did not feel good. I think I had a practice run just 2 days ago, and it happened. It was very tragic. So it is very possible to happen. I think at a GDQ event as well, you know, biggest event right there, there was a mishap with the Kirby and Forgotten Land as well. Just because, you know, sometimes it never happens before, and it does happen.
Yeah, so it's always nice, especially in the World 6, because there are so many fast waddlies to get. Like, it's very easy to just collect an X run to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, so I had 33 Waddle Dees. Usually I skip the roller coaster D right there, but you know, just for the sake of safety, it doesn't lose that much time.
Yeah, especially considering we still want to maintain our potions as much as possible. The fact that that one only takes another like 2 to 3 seconds to collect is rather nice. So right here we have a drill hovering, which is a
oh yeah,
effect that doesn't help in any way, but when you're on the elevator, it looks
it's a fun
pretty
thing
cool.
to do.
Okay, we are $37 shy now.
Ooh, we are so close, everybody.
Oh, we're closing so quickly.
That is never happened before. This is going to be a very tragic deity fight, by the way. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, so the thing with using the drill power up for some of these bosses is that you're able to, like, in general, like, easily predict where the bosses are going to be. So if they get off the cycle you're familiar with, or if their movement is, you know, just a little too far off, or if you miss the drill attacks in general, it can be very hard to back up.
Alright, this is going to be a very suspicious fight now.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what the play is, to be honest.
Yeah, this is a very tragic fight. That's all you need to know. Okay.
Actually, you know what? Really good backups. Really good backups.
Yeah. So unfortunately, King DD has this amazing power to hit me underground, which is not very good to happen right there. So usually I'm able to one-shot or either at least two-shot King DD's first phase with drill, but oh well. We at least were able to show off some hammer combat right there. And speaking of hammer, we are coming up to Liangar skip. And
yes,
hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, so because of how the level geometry looks in this next boss room, you can actually, while the boss fight is going on, go above the arena, go out of bounds, and go to the loading zone that takes you into the next boss fight. So the problem is you have a very small window of where Kirby is allowed to be in order to actually get out of bounds in the first place. And on top of that, the camera really does not like to cooperate while you're trying to do this. So I'll go ahead and let BombHappy focus here.
Ah, okay. We can still back it up a little bit here. Ooh. Okay. Alright, we're gonna go for the safer position, depending on how Liangar does this. Okay. Oh, very tragic. Okay. Yeah. So this is a very run killer strat. It's very unfortunate this is like one of the last strats to do, just because it is a frame 2 trick. So it doesn't have to be frame perfect, but pretty close to it.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is if you miss it the first time, then like so many things can go wrong because Liangar like can and will try his darndest to hit you, and if he does, that can throw it off even further. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah. This,
and on top
not
of
looking
that,
too
because
hot.
of all, yeah, and on top of that, because of all the attacks that come out, it adds a lot of lag, which when you're going for like very frame specific tricks, makes it a lot harder to hit the frame you need to.
Liangar is just trying to make this last longer because we are now $30
Yes.
from.
We're very close to it, so I'm just stalling time. It was not intentional, but now it's intentional. So it looks like I got it. I didn't get the optimal angle or optimal spot, but we are just gonna do some out of bounds shenanigans here.
Looks very
And
weird, but we are skipping the boss right now.
We got down to $30 thanks to Brooklyn Dylan donating $7 with no comment.
Let's go. We are so close. And there we go. We are here. Liangar just met us. And we are going to... The reason why this game has a Fear Factor rating. Hello, Fecto Forgo. How are you doing today?
Yeah, in a typical Kirby tradition, you have to have a final boss with a terrifying form. I believe in my splits, I literally call this guy Nightmare Fuel.
Yeah, it really is. There's a reason why this game has a Fear Factor rating.
He just wants hugs.
And yeah, he really wants hugs. Look at all of his friends. But
Yeah, well-
also fun fact, if you do die to this boss somehow, that Liangar that we skip, he actually is still there. So he's gonna be very unhappy. So we want to make sure we're running away from him as much as possible.
Real quick, we've got a $20 donation from Red X Parasite. I heard there was an incentive that needs meeting. Much love to everyone who helped with the marathon. We are down to $10 to go.
Oh, $10.
Thank you
Let's
for that,
go.
Parasite.
All right, we tried going for a little swag there, but oh well. It'd be like that.
Yeah, so there are luckily here you get a wide array of all the abilities you can get for actual combat here. And BombHappy is going to use ice here. That's, I believe it's believed to be the fastest way to kill this boss.
Yes, and any percent setting, yeah.
Yeah. Now the the weird issue here is that normally you would have an active strength potion active, but because Liangar Skip went the way Liangar Skip is kind of predicted to go in marathons, we sadly don't have that anymore. So this is going to be a very interesting fight, to say the least.
Yeah.
So like with Gorimondo in World 1, you can freeze Fecto Elfilis here in a very similar fashion. Problem is, Fecto Elfilis really likes going off of the arena out of range. So you really, really, really want to try to get as much damage in as you possibly can while you can.
Good news, everybody. As long as BombHappy provides his $20, we have got the go-ahead for the Ultimate Cup Z.
Woo, let's go.
Nice, let's go, guys.
Oh my god.
Awesome job.
Dude, that's amazing. Love to see it, everybody. Bring everybody together to get
Yeah,
that
thank you so
incentive net.
much.
Also, ice is better than rock type, as you can see right now.
I mean, this isn't a Pokemon game, so yeah, I believe you. But yeah, so that was actually a very good first phase I want to point out. So this whole fight is actually very RNG dependent, at least in the earlier stages. Because again, like Fecto Elfilis can, just choose to go outside of the arena, out of range, but he actually did cooperate a fairly good amount there. So coming up here, we actually will see, assuming he decides to cooperate more, we will see him go into a phase where he tries to heal himself, as we're seeing right here. Perfect.
Yeah, and so right there you can notice that the shadow actually is only on one of them. So if you're playing this casually and you want to beat the boss as soon as possible, or just at least want to know which copy is which, just look at the shadows on the ground.
Yep, and once you hit that phase, like that's when you know, even if you did lose the strength power-up, it's pretty easy to finish him off like as soon as that attack ends, so.
Alright, and look, we're saving Elflin. Hey, hello Elflin. And we are coming to the end of the run. Gonna see the best mouthful mode in the game.
Big Rig Kirby!
Hey, let's go.
Yeah, so even though this is, again, another sort of on-rail section, there is quite a bit you can do here to save time. So one of the big things is saving lag frames, simply not by hitting any of the enemies. Another one, so it's kind of hard to tell since he's doing it the entire time, but you can see BombHappy is actually boosting here, which is where those flames are coming off of. So another trick here, if you jump off the right side of the bridge right there, I think you actually save just a little bit of time compared to going past the bridge the intended way.
Yeah, you just fall off the bridge just a little bit earlier. I don't know if it actually saves time, but it is cool to do. Sometimes you actually land on some debris in the air, so that's also pretty cool too.
Yeah, like it looks like you have less of a slant when you fall by going off the side there, so I think it's just like, you know, just a little bit faster, but
And we're gonna fall down here.
definitely correct me if I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, honestly. There's not enough research on that, but fell off, triggered the cutscene, and we're gonna have a few button mashing sequences, and then I'll get close to calling when time is.
Yeah, QTEs are the real final boss of this game, so.
True. Alright, time for a little bit of an anime moment here.
Again, in true Kirby fashion.
Yes. Let's go, Kirby! Let's go, buddy!
Yeah, so this last section for the QTEs is really interesting that you both have to button mash and wiggle the stick around.
Yep.
Because apparently Nintendo didn't learn their lesson from the original Mario Party, but oh well.
Alright, and we're getting pretty close to time. I'll be calling it pretty soon. Let's go, Kirby, let's go! Okay, once he goes through Alphalus, that is when time happens. And time. Woo!
Great job, BombHappy.
Great job.
Thank you, thank you. And we still got the incentives to go. We're just gonna watch a little bit of cutscene, but once we do, we'll get right into the Howl Laboratory. Elflin, no!
Yeah, it wouldn't be a true anime engine without a self-sacrifice, now would it?
He's saving the world from his world. Oh no! Bye, Elflin. Sag moment. Alright. And spoiler alert, look at that! That is Liengar's soul right there. To be continued. There is a extension of this category called True Ending, where you end up having to save the Animal Pack's leader, or the Beast Pack's leader. But we are going to get into the Howl Laboratory. Are we doing the timer for the Howl Laboratory, or are we just going right at it? Estimation for 40 minutes. I am down, and so I'll go ahead and just do the countdown then. And so we are going to start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so for the Howl Rooms, there are actually 3 hidden Howl Rooms hidden throughout the game. So those rooms are in, correct me if I'm wrong on the levels here, 1-3, 3-4, and 6-3.
Yes, you are correct. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, Howl Rooms are basically the Easter egg rooms of the Kirby world. There actually is a few more secret rooms out there, but these are going to be the 3 main Easter egg rooms. And so we'll get into 1-3. And look at that. If you didn't notice, I'm using a different ability. So apparently with Speed Boost, Needle is actually pretty fast. So we're going to be zooming pretty quickly around here.
It's actually kind of insane, like how just the speed buff in general can change how you play the game, like to this degree, to the point where basically any ability has its own niche that makes it faster. Minus Chakram, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, poor Cutter. He doesn't get any love, but I might show some love for Chakram in the Ultimate Cup Z fight. And let's get it. And so the Howl Room for 1-3 is going to be at the very beginning or very end of the level, so very easy to miss, just because it's basically an Easter egg. You're going to have to do some specific stuff to unlock it.
Yeah, but despite how cryptic this one in particular is, it's actually, I would argue, the easiest of the three to find casually.
Yeah, 6-3 is like, well, 6-2 is also pretty cryptic. Unless you're a longtime Kirby fan, then you'll know that it's possible.
Yeah, then we get to 3-4, and it's like, oh gosh, what were they thinking?
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something that they're doing. So we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna stand on top of this shiny tree. So there's a new target right there, and so I'm gonna try and see if I can keep Needle. I don't think I care about it, honestly. And we get Ranger Kirby for the first time in this run, and I'm just gonna go ahead and shoot it down. Okay, that's cool, I guess. It'd be like that sometimes. Uh-huh. Okay, there you go. We got it. Third time's the charm, right?
Charm.
Alright, and look at that. We have a secret hidden staircase all the way to the top of this building. Unfortunately, you cannot do hammer super jump shenanigans to activate the scene here. You have to go through the Easter egg movement. And
yeah, it's really interesting, like what they did and like didn't wall off when it comes to that that target. Yeah, here. So interestingly enough, that slide and slope section, that is the only time in the entire game that mechanic is used.
yeah, it's just like a little fall
just
down
for Howl.
animation. Okay, so I don't want to bother this Wolfie here. Stay asleep, buddy. And just gonna do that. And one more. There you go. Hi! Hi! And so that is gonna be the first Howl Room. It's really cute. Some coins you can grab. There's actually a lot of things inside the boxes, so we'll go ahead and just break those blocks real quick. Some capsules, a lot of little goodies and coins, and this is actually the first time you can grab Hammer if you knew about the Howl Room. So that's always a cool little fact, but we'll go ahead and grab Needle, and this orange warp star is just going to bring us back to the end of the level, but for the sake of time, we are going to just exit and go into the next area.
Yeah, one nice thing about the Howl Rooms is that they all come with a bunch of different power-up abilities. So, casually, if you really need one and don't want to, bother leaving a level and finding one, that way you can just go into a Howl Room and pick up whatever one suits your fancy there. Unfortunately, getting to all these Howl Rooms is really, really slow for the sake of the speedrun, so they don't really come into play in any of the main categories, but
Take the shine
it's cool
or
that they're
whatever.
there.
Ooh, I'm down. I can show some hammer super jump shenanigans if we do have extra time. So look forward to that if I do have the time. Oh,
Yeah.
that was very awkward.
So in the main tornado room here, there is a hidden room on one of the little islands, I guess I'd call it.
Yeah.
Where you can go into a race section, like what we saw in 3-2. But in this case, we don't want to go too terribly fast in terms of this race. And that is because we want to see a very specific time left on the timer when we finish, as that is what unlocks the Howl Room. And I actually do forget what the time is, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, so...
Is it 78
So,
seconds?
no, it's gonna be 86, and so the reason behind that, this is actually in some of the more recent Kirby titles, where if you're in a specific room and you wait 86 seconds, you will unlock the Howl Room. And so the reason why 86 is even a thing in the first place is because apparently in Japan, whenever they speak the word, they speak 86 out loud, it sounds like Howl. So that's just a cool little Easter egg, and so if you wait 86 seconds, you unlock a Howl Room, very appropriately. And we're just gonna wait here a little bit. Another math is hard. 5.
Yeah, it's one of the, it's one of those like Easter eggs that like I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe all of the main series or like main platform in Kirby games have Howl Rooms in them.
Yeah,
so even though...
I think the first instance of a Howl Room like that legitimately has Howl in it, I wouldn't say until maybe after Kirby Dream Land 3. I could be wrong about the history, but I mean there is like special rooms. Like if anyone has seen the meme for the OG Kirby game, you know, there's a questionable room that you can find by entering a moon. So that was the first instance of secret rooms, which is entering the moon. But I think after a certain point, they had the Howl Rooms added in.
Yeah, so even though several of them can be unlocked by the 86-second method, it's like it's still interesting to see the different ways in which they can implement that.
Yep, and here we go. The next Howl Room. We got a lot of cute flower bushes that have some goodies on it. And another capsule. And actually, this is probably the first time where you can actually enter the water with Kirby. I want to say, in which case the water is actually pretty deep. So even Kirby, he gets his little floater back. We get to just swim around, hide inside the bushes, maybe play some hide and seek, even though the shadows is kind of not fair, but, you know, watch out for the needle bush. Very terrifying. And I guess just a cute little fact too, if you ever do want to speedrun all Waddle Dees, there's actually a fast way to do this without having to build the bridge. You can just do this. Oh, unless I don't know how to do it. I can try it. Yep, there it is. So yeah, that's a little speed trick you can do without having to activate the bridge if you've already done it before. Just a cute little optimization right there. And now we are going to go into the most obscure one, in my opinion, for getting into 6-3. 6-3, right? Yes.
Yep.
And so we're going into the Crusher Room. Unfortunately, you still cannot do any shenanigans to get into it before activating some of the triggers. And so the triggers are actually going to be here. And this one's very easy to miss. Like, honestly, it's so obscure, I'm actually really surprised in how people found this.
Yeah, so one interesting feature of this game is that once you go from one room to the next, in almost every single case, you cannot go back to previous rooms. This specific level, on the other hand, to get to the Howl Room, you actually do need to backtrack to the very first room of the game after you enter the factory. And I think this is the only instance of being able to backtrack like that in the entire game. Which is fitting for a Howl Room, I guess, but definitely something that makes it harder to come across casually.
Yeah, and if you can see right here, if you notice, these crushing walls are significantly faster. So definitely something's up. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, we just get to go back out in this room somehow. It just allows us to do that. And look at that, a shiny yellow ladder, letting us know that there's something new here.
You mean you didn't see that before?
Nope, I didn't notice. I wonder how they did it. They have some weird employees out here. And so, doing a little bit of some Metal Gear Solid event movement here. And what is this room? Cool looking room. We got some water. If anyone, make sure to stay hydrated. That's always important, stay hydrated. But like, what's happening here? That's it.
I see a bunch of boxes. Do you think those are relevant at all?
All I just see is abilities. This is kind of lame. You know what? Crash is a pretty cool ability. Let me use that real quick. What? What did I just find?
Whoa.
A soda machine? Whoa! That's insane. But yeah, if you can see right here, we have H-A-L. We got a Howl. Honestly, I love how this platform moves. It's reminiscent of like some of the older Kirby games. Personally, for me, Crystal Shards, where you get to fight bosses in a very circular fashion. Same thing with some other bosses as well in the 3DS titles. But look at that. we have Howl Laboratory with 860 soda cans. And fun fact,
Yeah.
you can shoot it on the wall and you can heal yourself. Would you like some strawberry, orange? Let's see what else we got. That's it. Lemon. Okay.
I'll take cookies and cream, please.
Cookies and cream soda.
Yeah, it is actually interesting how like all of these steel crates actually do have their own physics as soon as you start to destroy them.
Yeah, and look at that. We've unlocked some more goodies here. And there's a red capsule here. This is actually one of the rarest red capsules to get. I think there's a pretty decent amount of them hidden, but they're so obscure that a lot of times it's hard to find the red capsules. But also a cool thing, you know how we always change into our abilities whenever we grab abilities? If you go here and jump on top of it, you also grab it, but there's no animation.
But we still get to see Vending Machine Kirby wearing some cute hats, so...
Yeah, and unfortunately you cannot bring Vending Machine through. Oh, there's some grape soda too, okay. I'm down for that. Alright. And so that is actually the end of all of the Howl Rooms. If you go back into this door, you just enter back into that same control room that allowed us to trigger it. And other than that, we are going to enter Ultimate Cup Z very soon. We actually do have a little bit of time, so I am going to do some shenanigans that you can do in this Coliseum.
So FSJs are very helpful in the speedrun for sure, but you can also use them just for fun, even though they don't necessarily speed the game up in any way, shape, or form. And one of the earliest examples of how this can be used is actually in Waddle Town.
Yes, there's a lot of shenanigans to do. Also, by the way, look at King DD just chilling with us now. Oh, and
He's
also,
a friend.
Also a cute little fact, if you do emote with the Waddle Dees, they will say hi with you. Hi! And now, I am going to do something that was not intended in the game. Oh no, I'm sorry, next runner. I don't want to go over the estimate. What a travesty. But look! Wow, what a great Coliseum to fight in. I can't believe we're fighting in here.
Sign up.
Yeah, that's crazy. I would love to see some bosses fight with each other. Oh well, it'd be like that sometimes. But now, gotta get out.
Man, not sure I like the seating options though. It seems pretty limited.
Oh, and actually, while I'm at it, I'm gonna go ahead and speedrun my donation real quick. BombHappy is cool.
I mean, I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah? Yeah, you better not. You're gonna hurt my feelings if you do.
Nah, I would never.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess we can use this opportunity to talk about the cups. So there are 3 different levels of difficulty that you can enter for the cups. And the one we're going to be going into is the Z level 1. And each of the different bosses in there, you can tackle a variety of different ways. Like some of them are faster to take out with the fully evolved hammer ability. Some of them you want to use Crash for just for speed's sake. Others you can use the Morpho Knight ability, which I believe is what you're going to be using for the Z Cup.
Yeah,
correct?
so you can definitely either do a sword. So I have some options here for everyone. I'll just go with whoever says it first, because first come, first serve, I guess. But we can either go for a sword, or we can go for 2 discs. That's your options.
I will say the Chakram ability does have some pretty flashy kills.
Yeah, just because these abilities are already upgraded to its max, I will be doing significantly a lot more damage. So I'm actually not going to use any power boosts, just because power boosts are a little bit too fast. You can't even enjoy seeing the bosses. So it looks like our first come, first serve is definitely going to be Morpho Knight. And look at that, Morphle Knight. One of the most recent additions to the Kirby universe. Butterfly effect for anyone who's ever seen that meme. But look at this ability. You get to summon a huge sword. So huge sword, very, very strong. And cool thing is if you shield in the air, you can do this.
Yeah, so this is one of the last copy abilities you unlock in the game for very good reason, because it makes combat absolutely broken.
Yes. And also has one of the fastest dodges in the game, as you can see right here. So, really cool ability. Let's see. You know what? I'm sorry I changed my mind as the runner. We're going with Chakram now, because everyone else, aside from one person, is going for Chakrams. So we're going to go with the double discs of Doom. Really cool ability. And we're just going to go ahead and enter Ultimate Cup Z. Alright. And so, let's see if I remember my brain right now. Is my brain okay? I think my brain's okay. Okay.
If you say it's okay, I believe you.
You say it's okay? Yep, okay. So we're gonna go ahead and enter this boss. It's a really cool showing of just a different ability. I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna grab Morphle Sword whenever they do their casual run, because it is indeed a pretty broken ability. But we'll go ahead and enter it, and we're gonna be beating all these bosses, which are based off the true ending variations of the bosses. So they're basically just like the soulless versions of the enemies, and they're significantly stronger and have more HP, have different attack patterns as well. And so we're just going to try and beat them up as possible.
Yeah, they're effectively the hardest versions of every form of the bosses we get to see in this game. So some of these are just harder versions of the ones we've seen in any percent, and others we actually don't see unless we do the post-game stuff in the side worlds.
Yep, there you go. Well, the cool little... My favorite thing about Chakram is being able to do boomerang stuff. So, like, you know, if I shoot it here, I jump up and I let it go, it just shoots like that. I think it's really neat.
Yeah, Chakram is definitely one of the more advanced abilities in terms of combat, but that's not necessarily a bad thing.
And fortunately that speed buff actually helped me get past the little fence shenanigans that it makes you do. But look at that, Tropic Woods is also down. And another thing that's pretty cool about this is we'll get to see some of the more advanced bosses that you would never see in an any percent run. I don't know if bosses in the true arena are technically lore, but it would be really cool if they are.
I want to say they are because, so in this game you actually do have a gacha machine, or a series of gacha machines, and for each individual model you get, they have a little bit of lore behind them, and, you know, an explanation of, you know, like what they are, where they came from, etc. And that does include all of the Phantom forms.
True arenas are not canon, I can agree with that. And actually, you know what? Sorry, I'm changing my mind again. We will not be running Chakram Kirby all the way because I do want to do a cool little thing with Meta Knight. And pretty standard mini bosses here. And actually, casually, I think Chakram Kirby was actually one of the more boring abilities for me, just because it felt laggy to re-grab Chakrams. But like, after time went by, I was like, this ability is actually really sick.
That was definitely an ability that I never really gravitated towards because I never really used Cutter in the first place, so I mostly just upgraded it as a formality and never touched it again.
Yeah.
But after seeing what it's capable of, that definitely changed my mind in a big way.
And I think it's cool because, at least for me, if you play any of the more combo-oriented Kirby games, Chakrum's melee attack is like really cool. Like, being able to just walk up and then just doing a little attack is really cool. Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh well. Run away!
Since we have a couple seconds, there are the last two donations that we've gotten so far, which was one from me to get this going, and then, of course, BombHappy's with BombHappy is cool.
BombHappy is cool. Indeed, I agree. Good job, BombHappy.
I mean, donation messages don't lie, right?
True.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't.
Yes. Star Toy Hammer is literally the most broken ability once you upgrade it, just because it's very fast. But you would have to upgrade it, which takes a while because it's, I think, the weakest ability in the game, which requires you to do significantly more upgrades in comparison. But we're just gonna... You know what? I can throw too. Oh wait, I didn't know how to throw. Sorry, team. Take that. There you go.
And Cloverline. Ooh.
Yeah, Cloverline actually I think is one of the cooler fights in the true ending areas. But after this, I'm gonna change my mind and not go Chakram anymore, and we're gonna do some cool stuff with Bank Meta Knight.
And there's poor Frosty getting his butt kicked again.
Yeah, Wild Frosty does not get a break.
Never lucky. Hey, at least Wild Edge got to die in a bit of a more colorful way this time.
True. Alright, so we're going to be going against the Phantom Meta Knight here. So there's actually two things you can do. So in previous games, you are basically forced to grab the sword no matter what. But in this game, you're actually allowed to slide kick it, and he'll be mad about it. But we'll be nice. We'll be nice. We'll be nice. We'll grab it. Why not? Let's be nice to Meta Knight. He wants to fight a fair sword fight, so let's give it to him. Even though he's the evil variation. But yeah, big sword, very strong.
Yeah, Meta Knight is one of the bosses in the game that will actually actively avoid Kirby's attacks here.
Yeah, he's actually pretty smart.
He'll parry, he'll dodge, he'll do all sorts of movement to try to avoid you, but when you have the Morpho Sword, it's really hard to call it a fair fight in the same sense.
True. And we're just gonna wait here a little bit just so I can trigger the cutscene pretty soon. Or that's the wrong cutscene. We'll try again. We still got time. But yeah, that's the cutscene if you mess up, which is not what you're supposed to do. And now we're just gonna chill for a little bit until he feels like swinging a sword again. Come on, buddy. You can aim better than this. Yeah, he actually has some really cool attacks, though, now I'm looking at it. Okay, this is it? No? Also, the song's pretty much a bop, too. Oh! What? Okay.
Oh my word.
I thought he was gonna do his shadow clone and attack me from behind again, but we'll try again. It's okay, we got this.
Yeah, a lot of the cues for the attacks in these fights are a little hard to keep track of, and some of them do look very similar. So,
oh no,
like
I have never seen
happen.
this again. This is a tragedy. Thank you for the 40-second or 40-minute estimate. This will help me greatly in showing you the Meta Knight scene. Come on, Meta Knight. Be nice to me this time. Come on. Okay. What? Okay.
Wow.
Fourth time's a charm. Fourth time's a charm, right? Oh
Mennonite
my.
is just not having it.
Okay. if this doesn't happen, the fourth time, we'll just go along and show off the rest. This is very you know what? He's just outplaying me. He's just a better player. I can't help it.
So I'll say maybe he's mad that you didn't kick his sword.
Yes, maybe. That's what's happening. Okay, maybe he's just mad that I'm like running away from him instead of fighting him in a fair fight. Fine, here's a sword. There you go. Now he'll be nice to me, right? He'll be nice to me, I swear. Alright, Meta Knight, what you got for me, buddy? I'm glad that the song is a bop too, otherwise this would probably be a lot not fun. But let's see. Come on, buddy! Attack me again! Oh, what is this? I haven't seen this before. Oh, yes, I have. Okay. Alright, is he gonna attack from behind or in front of me this time?
One way to find out.
Okay, come on, Meta Knight. Do it. Yes, in front? Yes! There it is, the scene! Yes!
Sweet.
Come on, Kirby, you got this! And fun fact, if you do this in the first fight, you can actually steal his sword. And look at that, I'm Meta Knight Kirby.
Yeah, there are slight differences between the Mennonite ability and the Morpho Knight ability, so it's really cool that you can actually see both of them in a single arena run like that.
Yeah, like look at this. This is one of my favorite abilities right here. This is super cool. You know, for all the times he Omni Slashed me, it's time for me to Omni Slash all of the bosses next. That's what they deserve.
It does only feel right.
Yeah, but I love this anime attack. It's so good. Boom. And fun fact, you can actually inhale these hammers right here because Phantom Borgo DD actually goes to the background, but you can still hit them, which is pretty cool. A little minor optimization to beat up the boss faster.
I don't know that I ever knew that. I think I realized that you could hit him with Ranger, but you also had such a limited amount of time to do so that it wasn't really practical.
it wasn't worth it, but like especially with all the meteors like trying to bully you and everything, it's like
Yeah.
pretty cool. But we are gonna be seeing Liengar from the true ending area as well. And so if we go in, let's see. He is possessed and angry again. Very angry. Enough to kick me away.
Yeah, luckily while you make your way back, it is actually easy to swallow and spit a star or two.
Yes, very, very convenient. But
Yeah,
second
which-
phase. We'll watch the cutscene real quick. And so that is actually Elphalus right there, the evil Elflin portion of him. So, likes to possess bodies and be evil, as all evil doers do. And then, because I didn't kill the boss fast enough, he is going to have his second cutscene right here. Trying his best to fight against Elphalus, but of course, Elphalus being truly evil, we save him, hopefully. And now this is basically the, I think, second instance of Morpho Knight showing up. I could be wrong about that.
I think that's correct.
I think Morpho Knight showed up in Star Allies first, which is the last Switch game for the Kirby game. But now, we fight against Morpho Knight with Meta Knight Sword. And I guess a little bit backstory. So how it worked in all the other Kirby games is that Meta Knight wanted to fight the most strongest warrior. And so Morpho Knight, I believe, is just like another continuation of Galacta Knight, where he ends up just becoming significantly stronger than Galacta Knight. I think he actually just bullies Galacta Knight, the strongest warrior, and then just says, you know what, I'm the strongest warrior now. I think it's a butterfly of some sort that possesses Galacta Knight. But you know what? I'm not the lore expert here.
Yeah, the lore does run surprisingly deep, especially when you compare it to other Kirby games.
Yeah, you know, that's actually one of the things I missed about the other Kirby games is whenever you pause, like the iconic pausing of Kirby, they just have like random like lore bits, depending on your abilities or depending on which boss you're fighting, as well as what's it called? As well as like showing you combo tips and everything. But in this game, they don't actually show you any combos, which is very odd, but I think it just made sense because all the abilities only had like 1 or 2 variations depending on if you're in the air or not. But the only time they ever had combos is, I think, Masked Hammer, as well as Meta Knight Kirby and Morpho Knight Kirby. So those are the only ones that have like special abilities that you can do that isn't just simply pressing B. But it looks like the game is nice enough to give me Morpho Sword as my last weapon.
Yeah, the gauntlet, especially for Cup C, is very, well, it's reasonably generous, because it knows they have to endure to get to this point. And speaking of getting to this point, and here we are.
And here we are. Oh, not yet, not yet. But, yep, we are fighting Chaos Alphalus. Look at this bad. Has some great nails, by the way. Love the nails.
I will say, I definitely prefer this color scheme for Alphalus. It looks so much more sinister.
Yeah, honestly, one of the cool bosses. So I'm actually probably just going to fight the boss just a little bit slower, just so you can see a little bit more of the scenes. That's the whole entire reason why I didn't do full abilities, or full power boosts. A lot faster, too.
Yeah, this like really is just a perfect showcase of like how different the fights are when you take their chaos forms into the mix.
You know what? I'm gonna send some minions at you. That's what you deserve. Minions. Take the minions. Good job. I'm proud of you. Alright. And second phase here. This is really cool. Has a little stand user right here. It does a huge sweep on
Gosh.
you. Big attacks. Ooh. And it's gonna come back down again. And then the cool thing about Morpho Sword is that depending on what hits you do, you can actually heal off of your hits, which is pretty cool.
It's definitely cool that they give you that option, despite it not being the most obvious thing ever as well.
Yeah. And you thought this was it, right? This is exactly how it ended last time. And that's what's gonna happen. Nothing new, nothing special is gonna happen anytime. This is it. We're done. Or are we? Orb. Orb. And here we are, going against Chaos Alphalus. Part 2. The biggest of orbs of orbs.
Yeah, so this is, I believe, supposed to be, you know, despite this world not being canon, I believe this is supposed to be the true form of Alphalus.
Yes, big orb. And there's actually a lot of cool transitions here as well. So this is the second phase right here. Look how big. Get to hit him on the way.
Yeah, the array of attacks that this form has is also like extremely daunting. Like there are some very tight windows you have to avoid them. It's a little bit easier with Morphomite, but this attack in particular, where you have to climb the fallen debris, can really mess you up if you're not prepared for it your first couple times through.
Yeah, I didn't realize that you actually had to climb these rocks right here. I thought that you just, I don't know, defended, I guess. I didn't think too much about it.
Well, it's interesting because this is the again, unless I'm sorely mistaken, this is the first time you actually have a fight that you need to make use of the terrain for. Because most of the fights, like, you're just in a flat open arena.
Yeah, this fight's sick, so sick. I'm gonna chill out a little bit again, just give Chaos Alphaless a fighting chance. And if I remember correctly, I have never played Canvas Curse in my life, but a lot of this boss is in like honor of the Canvas Curse boss. Could totally be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure some Kirby fan can confirm that for me. Oh yeah, the black hole attack, I didn't realize all you have to do is just run away. I didn't realize that the speed actually just stopped once you're right next to the black hole glitch, or black hole.
Yeah, so that last attack is actually kind of interesting, where all the smaller orbs shoot out lasers.
Welcome
so
back,
one thing
Tropic.
so one thing you actually can do is destroy those individual orbs and reduce the amount of attacks that get sent out your way.
Yes, fun fact, you can spit the orbs that are around him. Which, when I tested it out, it's actually really fast. Like, it's pretty comparable to fighting with like Morpho Sword without the charge attacks. It's actually kind of insane. But
It's great to see
I'm
that
pretty close to dying, so I probably should go ahead and beat up Alphaless now.
Maybe a good idea. Yeah, it is really nice that, like, even for like final fights such as this, like, they do still make Copulous Kirby extremely overpowered in its own right.
Yeah, Copulous Kirby is still insane. Like, they can still compare to like all the tier 3 upgrades. But look at that, we have beaten the boss, and all that's left is honestly some cool cutscenes that are not canon.
Well done.
Thank you. And honestly, great
GG.
event. I really appreciate having this event for, charity, and I mean, kudos to all the great gamers out there that ran through this event and helped out with all the donations that got through. And speaking of donations, how much money do we have?
We have $1,619 out of 2,000.
Woo! Let's go. 1,600 is, that's still a lot. Like, that's such a great amount. Yeah, it really is.
It's a very nice amount that'll go very long way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you guys definitely did some good this marathon, so thank you for that.
Then we want to thank everybody, every runner, the volunteer into this, Carter, Mannix, Mirny, I can't even name them all.
Time to write out
And
of
of
this.
course, all of you who donated.
And there you go. Finished just on time, 39:59. Whew. Also, not my best time, but yeah, that is it. Really fun thing about the late game is just being able to do upgrades for this game. But yeah, that is it for me. At least for my shoutouts, you can always follow me at twitch.tv/BombHappy. I am either doing regular Kirby or doing blindfolded runs. I am the world record holder for the any percent blindfolded, so if you ever do want to check out me trying to optimize that more, always feel free to join. But other than that, Uncle Slam?
I will say that if you've never seen a blindfolded run of this game before, it's very impressive what you are still able to do even without sight. So if that interests you at all, definitely check that out. And yeah, in general, just thank you to the Kirby and the Forgotten Lands speedrunning community. There are a lot of good people there, and if you're interested in picking up this run, I highly recommend checking them out. There should be a link to the Discord on the speedrun.com. Excuse me, the speedrun.com page. So yeah, if you have any questions about the run, a lot of people in there who are more than happy to help out.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to see some new runners come in and ask questions, because, you know, that makes the life of the speedrunning community right there.
All right. Well, I appreciate the help, guys, and thank you again for running. If everyone will stick around for the final parts of this, where we are saying thank yous, please bear with us while we change over.